There's a shot of Kauffman Stadium in red-hot Kansas City, where third place is on the line as our Sox take on the Kansas City Royals. Hello again, everybody. Steve Stone along with Tom Paciorek, and Ken Harrelson is not with us tonight. He's a little under the weather, back in Chicago recuperating. And Tommy, welcome to the broadcast.
Thanks, Tony. It's great to be here, and I hope Hawk gets very well very, very soon.
This is a battle tonight of two teams that probably had higher expectations than they find themselves now. But both teams still feel they can make a run at it, and if they do, they've got to start tonight.
Well, I think one of these two teams have got to sweep this series, Tony, to get back in the race. Neither one of them have played very well against the two teams in front of them, that being the Cleveland Indians and the Detroit Tigers. You see the Sox have really struggled against the Tribe and Detroit this year, and they've got 16 games left with them. The Royals, on the other hand, a little bit closer, but the Sox have really struggled here at Kauffman Stadium. You see that 7-14 since 2014. That's not good, and the Royals are 7-2 against the White Sox this year. So Chris Sale's got to pitch a great ball game tonight.
You get an interesting matchup with Edinson Volquez going to the mound for Kansas City, Chris Sale for our ball club. It's a battle of two veterans, and what do you look for?
Well, Chris Sale's 14-5. He can pitch for me any night, Stone. He's a #1 by any standard in Major League Baseball, and he had a very good outing against Detroit. He had a tough luck 2-1 loss to the Tigers. A late inning homer by J.D. Martinez, who was the hero of that ball game. So if Chris throws like he did last game, he's going to win the night. Volquez, on the other hand, has really struggled. His last game was against Tampa Bay, and he got rocked. As a matter of fact, in his last two outings, his earned run average is approaching 10. So if the Sox get on the board early, maybe they can make it easier for Chris tonight.
There you look at the matchups and what they've done head-to-head with Chris 8-9 lifetime against the Royals. Volquez 2-3. The ERA both very good against one another. And right now Chris Sale throwing the ball a bit better than Edinson Volquez. So this is the first of 9 on the road. If the Sox are going to get it done, it's going to have to be as road warriors. So stay with us. It's all coming up next on Comcast Sportsnet.
White Sox baseball on CSN Chicago is brought to you in part by Toyota. Discover more in a Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com or your local Toyota dealer today. Let's go places. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all. Audi. Truth in engineering. And by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV.
It's a toasty day in Kansas City as our Sox take on the Royals at Kauffman Stadium. It's 88 degrees, but high humidity. It says it feels like 99. It actually feels like 108. Robin Ventura losing another player, Avisail Garcia, going on the disabled list. And so things just keep getting worse injury-wise, as Avi was going to get a chance to play from here on out. As it turned out, Tommy, he won't be able to do that.
Yeah, that really is a shame, because I know he's been waiting all season long to get in the lineup on a consistent basis, and at times he has shown great promise. So that's too bad for Avisail.
Been one of those years where guys just get their opportunity, either coming up from the minor leagues or getting their opportunity coming off the bench. And for whatever reason, this has been as injury-plagued a season as I've seen from the White Sox in quite some time.
Yeah, but you can look at Major League Baseball in general has had some severe injuries. Those injury reports have just been brutal all season long for most teams. There you see what Avisail has done. A sprained right knee. It's .240 batting average, 9 homers, 36 runs batted in on the season, but he's got all that talent. Big, strong guy that can run, throw, and do all the things, but just hasn't put it together yet.
Kansas City in this ballpark has been awfully tough. They're 34-20 at home. They've been abysmal on the road, 19-38. Unfortunately, we happen to be playing them here in Kansas City, where it's been very difficult for the Sox. They've just had a terrible time with Kansas City, and specifically in this ballpark. When you go back, since 2011, the Sox are 37-65 against Kansas City. So when you have a team in your division that you really don't handle very well, it becomes very difficult to pass them by in the division, as we've seen the last few years. As Kansas City's been awfully good, but they're experiencing what normal teams experience. When you have a lot of injuries, as they've had, it's really tough to put a good season together.
You're right. And, you know, I can take you back to 1982, wearing that White Sox uniform, coming in here against George Brett, Hal McRae, and Amos Otis, and all those guys, Willie Wilson. I mean, it was tough. It was like pinballs going around the bases. They were there. They've always been tough to beat here, and that remains constant to this day.
Well, now they have the natural surface here. When you played here, it was the artificial surface, and they had a bunch of guys who could run. You played center field in this park, and that was a phenomenal amount of space to cover. In fact, in those days, it's actually more than it is today. What was it like out there, especially when you had speed burners on either side of you?
Well, that's very true. Of course, there's no reason for me to play center field unless Richie Zisk, former White Sox outfielder, was in left, and Beetlebug, Jeff Burrows, was in right. Or you can interchange Bruce Bhakti as well. So I did. I looked like Carl Lewis next to those guys. And it's not easy to play here. You got to get the right angle, and this is a great triples ballpark too. And when you utilize your speed, you can produce a lot of runs here.
And Kansas City takes the field behind Edinson Volquez. And let's take a look at how Robin is going to line them up. Our Kia starting lineup tonight. Tim Anderson leading it off, playing shortstop. Then it's Melky Cabrera, the former Royal, in left field. Adam Eaton, who's done a nice job in the 3 spot. Jose Abreu, who's been red hot in his last 4 games. Justin Morneau, the DH. Todd Frazier at third. Deanna Navarro behind the plate with Tyler Saladino at second. And J.B. Shuck is in center field, hitting 9th.
And now let's take a look at our Honda City defense for the Kansas City Royals. Ned Yost is their skipper. Alex Gordon in left field. Paulo Orlando is in center. He must be really good because they've got Lorenzo Cain, a great center fielder, in right tonight. Cheslor Cuthbert, that's easy for me to say, is at third base. Alcides Escobar plays shortstop. Raul Mondesi is at second. Eric Hosmer, the All-Star, is at first base. And another All-Star behind the plate, Salvador Perez.
Our Lexus Pursuing Perfection starting pitcher is Edinson Volquez, who's really had a hard time in the first inning. He's been plastered in the first inning, gives up a lot of home runs. This is 24th start. He's 8-10, his ERA up close to 5. There's a lot of rumors about him going places before the trading deadline. It didn't work out because, quite frankly, he's not throwing the ball very well. And the umpires for the game tonight. Tim Timmons behind the plate. Pat Hoberg is at first. The crew chief Mike Everett is at second, and king size Jordan Baker is at third. So the Royals have given up more runs in the first inning and more home runs in the first inning than any other team in baseball. And we'll see if the Sox can take advantage of it with Tim Anderson leading it off. So on a red hot night, on a night where the ballpark is going to be lively, even though there are spacious dimensions here in Kansas City, we'll see if the Sox can get on the board early, as a lot of teams have done against the Royals this year, but specifically against Edinson Volquez, who a lot of people feel might be, if not running out of gas, certainly nowhere near the pitcher he was the first 2 months of the season. So Anderson comes in hitting .264. He's hit 5 home runs. He's driven in 22. And he looks at a fastball down. The wind is out of the east at 8 miles an hour. Not much of a factor here as a ground ball to shortstop kicks it off. Escobar straight over the top. And a pretty good throw to a very good first baseman. And Tommy, you know that this team is defending World Series champion, and they did it with speed and defense. Although this year they're not running near as much, but that defense comes every day to play. Yeah, that's very true. And of course they suit this ballpark. You mentioned how well they play at Kauffman Stadium, so they've got those burners in the outfield, and they cut off a lot of bases, and they get a lot of outs that they probably shouldn't have under normal circumstances. Melky Cabrera hitting .302. Looks at a fastball inside off the plate. Melky's had a very steady year. He's hit well from both sides of the plate, and probably the most consistent of the Sox hitters. I don't think there's any question about that. A little better hitter from the right side, however, as Volquez has fallen behind 2-0. Yeah, when you hit 300 in this day and age, and there's so few, there's what, there's about 12 in each league, I think, right now that are hitting 300. Strikeouts are way up over the last few years. So a 300 hitter right now is very valuable. And it's a 3-0 count. Volquez came to the big leagues with the Texas Rangers, found his way to Cincinnati, then San Diego, then the Dodgers briefly before Pittsburgh, and last year Kansas City, where he's 13-9. And the count 3-1. So the outfield pretty much straight away. Paulo Orlando out of Brazil is a world-class sprinter who just happens to be playing baseball. Having a good year too offensively. And he loses him. So Melky's aboard. Interesting thing about Orlando in center, he was a member of the White Sox, really hadn't smoothed out his game and didn't play a whole lot of baseball as he grew up in Brazil, but he was taught by some Japanese players who happened to come to Brazil, immigrated there, and they taught him the game of baseball, which he certainly loved. He was a track star and learned how to play the game, and now he's a very good one. Can't teach speed either. That's the one thing he had, and wow. Adam Eaton really important. Takes a strike. 9 home runs, 39 driven in. He's hitting .271. Seems to have adapted to the 3 spot pretty well in this lineup, hitting ahead of Abreu and behind Cabrera, and Melky is on base a lot. Small lead at first. Well, he should get a lot of really good pitches to hit in that number 3 spot ahead of Abreu. Of course, you're going to get the fastball a lot more often. Of course, Melky Cabrera should be on base a lot more too, so that would, you'd think he'd get a lot more fastballs to hit, and he's a good fastball hitter. The straight change that Volquez has, which is normally pretty good, lately has not been so good, so lefties have taken advantage of it. Spinning curveball right there. He got way underneath. That's not a Steve Stone curveball, I'll tell you that right now. I'm still ducking. Those were the good old days. Yeah. Good. Not for you, but the good old days. No. 2-1 count on Adam Eaton. Last year, second on the ball club in home runs, much to the surprise of a whole lot of people, but he's very strong. He is. Hit well to center field, but Orlando measuring this one, and he makes the catch. So we'll take a look at our picks to click. I took Adam Eaton. I'd like to revisit that pick. Deanna Navarro is Tommy's pick. The Crew has Justin Morneau. They're leading this extravaganza, and Tyler Saladino has been picked by the fans. You can vote before each game at whitesox.com/pick-to-click. So the Crew in the lead. They've got a stranglehold on first place.
Yeah, they do. You know, I was torn between the big hurt Frank Thomas and Navarro.
Jose Abreu comes up, and he looks at a fastball for a strike.
That's what I remember. Hawk just riding Big Frank like a mule.
In the pick-to-click?
For how many years? Oh, yes.
He did win every year, you know. That was a pretty good pick.
And before we eliminated pitchers from the selection, Blackjack McDowell was also one of them.
14 and 60 on the power numbers for Abreu. And a chopper to shortstop. The easy way to second base, and it's out of the inning with one left. We'll head to the bottom of the first in a scoreless game. Ned Yost is going to line him up for the Royals. Our Kia starting lineup. It's Orlando leading it off. He's been red hot. And Cuthbert, Kane, Hosmer, Morales, Salvador Perez, one of the best around, and Alex Gordon, Escobar, and Raul Mondesi, whose father played in the major league.
And here's our Honda City defense for the White Sox. Robin Ventura, the skipper. Left field, Melky Cabrera. J.B. Shuck is in center. Adam Eaton patrols right. Third base is the Todd. Frazier. Tim Anderson at shortstop. Tyler Saladino at second. Jose Abreu at first base. And behind the plate, Deanna Navarro.
And our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher is Chris Sale, looking for win number 15. His ERA 3.12. He's 8-9 lifetime against these Royals. And he's going to lead it off with Orlando, one of the guys on this team that's still running a great deal. This ball club hasn't run quite as much as they were running when they were winning the American League and then winning the World Series last year.
You know, and that enters in the prospect too of hit and running too. Are they doing much of that? I don't think they are like they did before.
They are not. So Orlando comes up hitting .333, and he looks at a fastball for a strike. So 3 home runs, 23 driven in. He's stolen 9 bases, been caught just twice. And the outfield playing him a shade or so toward right center. That fastball upstairs and by him. So quickly he's in a hole 0-2. Against Chris Sale, you see he's hit a home run, driven into, hitting .273, which against Chris Sale is pretty good. That one upstairs. How would you approach Chris Sale if you were hitting today? Not at your age, but when you were playing.
Thank goodness. You know, you have to look fastball, I think, because, you know, he can gear it up. He can go anywhere from 90 to 97 with it. And I don't think I had a chance.
That one down the line. It's a breaking ball rifled into the corner. It's at least 2, but off to the races is Orlando, who's looking for 3. Has to hold up as Melky gets it back in. So an ominous way to start this ball game tonight.
15th double already for Orlando this season in limited playing time. And there you see just a spiral belt high and solid contact. His head stayed right behind the baseball right there. You can see a good job of hitting. That's just a bad pitch though by Chris.
Yeah, got too much of the plate ahead of the hitter, and Melky gets it back in. Brings up Chesler Cuthbert out of Nicaragua, and he's had a terrific year. 296. That one rifled foul. Hit 9 home runs, driven in 33. Like Moustakas went on the disabled list, and Tommy, sometimes you never know when the break's going to come. Cuthbert probably was not going to play, certainly not every day this year, but Moustakas being lost for the year opened the door for this young man, and he's just stormed through.
And when Moustakas comes back, he's going to hang around too with that 296 batting average. There's not that many guys approaching 300, as we mentioned last inning, in either league.
So when they believe, and we'll see, Moustakas is making a little over $8.5 million next year guaranteed before he becomes a free agent.
Right.
They think that Cuthbert can play second base, and if he can do that, he can certainly find a place to play. Line drive center field. It's going to fall. No chance at all to get Orlando. So Shuck gets it back in, and 2 hitters, 1 run. And RBI number 34 for Cuthbert.
It looked to me like another hanging breaking ball, up and out over the plate. Yeah, another spiral. This one is up and away. A little bit of hang time. He let that ball get deep in his stance, and he found the hole.
That'll bring up Lorenzo Cain, and the reason he's playing right field is because he's still nursing a hamstring injury that put him on the disabled list originally, hitting 283, 841 on the power numbers. Cain was one of the best center fielders around last year, and he can really go get them. They don't lose anything defensively, however, with Orlando in center field, and they do protect his hamstring against any further injury. So a short lead at first, but fouled off to the right. Well, out of Miami, Ichiro Suzuki, his 3,000th hit
in America,
in the United States.
Yes.
It's unbelievable the fact that 150 years this game has been played, and Ichiro Suzuki joins a very exclusive club. And that's it. He swung at it. It was called by Tim Timmons.
That high fastball, when it's upper 90s, that is tough to lay off, and it's tougher to make contact. Yeah, he went. And I think Lorenzo knew it.
The exclusive club that Ichiro joined, there's been 30 guys, 30 in 150 years to have 3,000 or more hits.
Hits are tough to get.
Especially 3,000 of them. Eric Hosmer fouls the first fastball off.
Yeah, 3,000, and what he had 1,200 and some, I think, in Japan as well. So he topped Pete Rose in that category. But he was 27 years old when he got to the big leagues here with Seattle.
Pretty amazing that he could play 16 years and spend that long to get that many hits in this country.
Yeah.
So a Hall of Famer in 2 different countries. And a base hit to right field. Cuthbert will have to stop at second as one of the league's best, if not the best, right fielder in the major leagues right now. Adam Eaton gets it back in. He's got 16 assists in the outfield. Tommy, you can appreciate what it takes in early August to have 16 assists.
Yeah, it's very tough to do, but he gets a great jump on the ball, whether it be hit in the air and he charges the ball just like he did right there extremely well. So that eliminates the chance of guys going from first to third a lot of the time.
They'll bring up Kendrys Morales, who's not having a particularly good year. The switch hitter who had just a great year for them last year.
That's big. Those fast guys were getting on base, and he was driving them in to the tune of 100.
And they waited a long time last year before they decided to sign him. He wound up hitting 290, driving in 106 runs with 22 home runs, and yet he was out of a job for a while. They took a gamble, and did it pay off? Fouls that one straight back. The one thing that Kendrys can't do since he shattered that ankle with the Angels is run. Doesn't make him a bad guy.
No, that was a horrible injury at home plate in the celebration. And that cost him, what, about a year and a half.
Did that cost him a great deal of money? He's probably still with the Angels because he could hit from both sides of the plate and show power from both sides. That one fouled straight back. So the count 1-2 with one out. Down a run here in the first inning. Leadoff double to Orlando, a base hit by Cuthbert. After striking out Kane, Hosmer with a base hit, and that's where we stand.
You know, we always talk about those elite pitchers, like Chris Sale is one, and you have to get to him early. You got to get out of that batter's box too quickly. You don't want to go deep in the count with him. Try and face all his stuff.
That one skied to the right side. Saladino calling for it. Adam Eaton calls him off, as he should. So there's two outs.
And it's obvious too that he doesn't have his real good stuff yet. That's, you know, his breaking ball's just been spinning up there.
A lot of people ask me, why is it the first inning so difficult? There's a number of different reasons. There's just not one answer. One is that he's the only guy on the field that will do his work and warm up in two different spots. You're going to take ground balls at third base. You're going to play third base. It's the same spot. You're going to hit in the batter's box, the same spot. But the pitcher warms up in the bullpen. Then he comes into the mound completely different, and also a lot of adrenaline in the first inning. And the slider or curveball is a touch pitch. Sometimes with too much adrenaline, you don't get that good feel for it. That feel for the slider in Chris's case will probably come to him a little bit later. But both pitches he got really hurt on were sliders in his first inning that didn't break. They just rolled.
Yeah. And I always thought, oh boy.
That one hit hard, driven to center field. J.B. Shuck going back. He's got room, and he makes the catch. So a run on 3 hits, and there were 2 left. And at the end of 1, it's 1-0 Royals. Insider Dan Hayes all season long on CSNChicago.com, presented by The Great Escape. Whether it's pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, or more, escape your everyday. Shop The Great Escape. So a very toasty night here in Kansas City, as you can see. Good crowd on hand. And Justin Morneau to lead it off. He's hitting .262. He's at 3 home runs. He's driven in 8. For those of you wondering why I am doing the play-by-play and Tom Pachorek is with me doing the color and analysis, Ken Harrelson is not feeling well. He's back in Chicago recuperating, and we hope to have him back for the Cleveland Indians series. And Tom will join Jason Benetti in Miami, and I will rejoin Ken Harrelson for the Cleveland series at the tail end of this 9-game 10-day road trip. There's a good breaking ball by Volquez, who calls it a slider. But is there that much different these days between the slider and the curveball?
Not really. No, I think the curveball is a better pitch if it's 12-6. If it goes straight down, that's nasty because it changes the eye level of the hitter. Right there was a hanger. Justin was a little bit out in front of that one.
Career numbers, and they were pretty good.
Yeah.
ERA is up there, but anytime you're over 500 at all, you're getting it done, and he's been around quite some time.
Good
that
pitch
was a
right there.
Change up, and the appeal to Jordan Baker.
Yeah, he had good arm action on that one. Really fooled Morneau. Make it look like a fastball coming out of his hand.
Outfield straightaway, very deep for Morneau. And a little chopper right at Hosmer, the Gold Glove first baseman. He takes it easily.
Hey fans, join the White Sox for Zuba's Palooza on Thursday, August 25th. Purchase tickets using Zuba's code. Plus, receive a special price game ticket and a voucher for your White Sox Zuba's pants. Visit whitesox.com/Zubas. I'm surprised you're not wearing yours tonight.
You know, we're probably going to get them when we get home.
I hope so.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Send mine to me, will you?
Well,
extra large,
more than happy
double
to.
XLs.
Todd Frazier comes up, and he looks at a fastball for a strike. Not hitting .213, 30 home runs, 69 driven in. Those are handsome pants.
Oh, they're beautiful. Send mine in Cecil Fielder size. Hawk used to always tell me that Cecil and I had one thing in common.
Wasn't hitting the long ball.
No.
Sky to right field. Kane calls for it. Orlando calls him off. Now Lorenzo Cain is not the boss in the outfield as long as he's playing right field. Follow Orlando is. And Cain gave way. And we talked about the 3,000th hit. And there's a few other guys knocking at the door. Adrian Beltre, who's been a wonderful player for a long time, has 2,878 hits. Albert Pujols, 2,774.
2 Hall of Famers.
Miguel Cabrera, another guy who's going to be in the Hall of Fame,
absolutely.
2,459. And then Robinson Cano, who probably his numbers are a little short of Hall of Fame consideration, but he's a good one in Seattle.
Well, if he keeps playing up to his standards right now, I think he's got a real good shot at the Hall of Fame.
He's young enough, certainly. And Seattle is in second place in the AL West, 7 games in back of Texas. They've overcome Houston. They lead them by a game and a half, as Houston just can't beat the Texas Rangers. They're in the same division. They're 2-11 against the Rangers. If they just split even with them, they'd be right in the thick of this race.
Rangers are pretty good, though.
They're very good, especially helped themselves at the trade deadline as Deanna Navarro fouls it off. He came in hitting .209, 5-27 on the power numbers. Switch hitter, getting a lot more play than he thought he was going to get, because Alex Avila has been disabled for a while, that hamstring. Balky. He's not been able to come back 100%. And along with Omar Narvaez, they share the catching duties, but Navarro with the lion's share. Fouls that one off to the left. Terry Francona in Cleveland, with Cleveland in Washington, had to actually excuse himself from the game, was feeling some chest pains. They're taking a look at it, so Brad Mills is doing the managing. It's 0-0, bottom of the 6th. The Indians in Washington in Washington. And he throws a high fastball by him. So 1-2-3 in the second inning. And we'll head to the bottom of the second. 1-0 Royals. to Miller time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite. So Chris Sale is going to look at the bottom third of the order with Gordon Escobar and Raul Mondesi, whose father played in the major leagues with the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah, for many years. He was a good player. He also was with Toronto, the Blue Jays.
Completely different players, although I think they believe that the younger Raul Mondesi will eventually get some power. Right now he's got big speed.
Well, Raul Mondesi, the senior, was the Rookie of the Year for the Dodgers, so he was a heck of a player for a long time.
Alex Gordon, who had his year interrupted with a fractured wrist, on the same play they lost Mike Moustakas back at U.S. Cellular Field. He looks at a fastball for a strike. He's hitting 199 this year, 8 home runs, 18 driven in. They envisioned him as the leadoff hitter. It hasn't worked out that well for him, but he lines a base hit to right field. One hop to Adam Eaton. So, you know, Tom, we talked about 3,000 hits, and there's a lot of guys likely to do it. How about 300 wins, which used to be the standard, which got you into the Hall of Fame?
A lot more guys are going to get 3,000 hits that are playing today than 300 wins.
Well, the leader right now, Bartolo Colon, is 228, so he's not going to make it. He's 100 years old. CC Sabathia, who's got very bad legs, got 220 wins. Then you have John Lackey, 37 years old. He's got 173 wins, and Justin Verlander with 169. That's it.
Yeah.
That one's skied to left field. Melky calling for it. And he makes the catch as Escobar goes after the first pitch and flies to left.
You know what I think why guys don't win as many games? Because they leave it to other guys to win the game for them instead of going out there and doing it themselves. I'm sure you preferred to finish the games when you felt like you were right on tune and you didn't have that many pitches and you weren't that tired.
Yeah, I mean, and that depends really. You know, the amount of pitches is something that's interesting because some nights you felt great at 110, 115 pitches. Other nights you felt exhausted at 90. It depends on how many you make under duress. Depends on how many times you have to go to the well to get yourself out of jams. And so, you know, it depended on who your manager was also, because many managers would let their guy go, especially if they were with the team for a while. They showed the manager they could complete games, and they would stay out of the bullpen, and they would trust the pitcher to tell him,
right,
when you have something left, let me know. If you don't have anything, I have to know also. And so here is Raul Mondesi, 256, 4 driven in. He's got great speed, still very young, has plenty of development yet. His father was a big, thick guy with big power and a great arm. Throw to first. Gordon is back.
And of course, these days there are the bullpens. My goodness, there's 13, 14, sometimes even 15 guys in the bullpen now.
Well, that's really the biggest difference this year. Baltimore hasn't completed a game. They didn't complete a game all of last year. They haven't completed a game all of this year. Now they got Zach Britton at the tail end, and nobody hits him. His ERA .58. He's given up 22 hits and 46 and 2/3 innings. He's 34 for 34 and saves. So you can understand why Coach Showalter would say, "Here's the ball. You come in late and nail it down for me."
Yeah.
Right back at Chris Sale. Takes his time to second for one, to first, and they got him. A very speedy Mondesi in a very slick 1-6-3 double play and out of the inning. We'll head to the third. It's 1-0 Royals. CSN's Layla Rahimi and get up to speed on the state of our city's baseball teams on a brand new edition of Bases Loaded. It's a half hour of team-by-team features, analysis, and more. Watch Bases Loaded Thursday at 6:30 on CSN Chicago. Tyler Saladino to lead it off, and he looks at a fastball for a strike. Tyler's hitting .260, 6 home runs, 23 driven in. It's pretty difficult to do what he's doing, and that's play as sparingly as he has, although lately he's playing more, and still keep the power numbers up. They're pretty good. 6 home runs for him. Now he's in an 0-2 hole.
2 fastballs pretty much middle of the plate. One was up and that last one was down, but there's still 2 good pitches to swing at.
High changeup. I didn't like to throw an 0-2 changeup.
No, because they're in the protect mode, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking protect mode. You got to look fastball, but you can always adjust to the changeup.
That's exactly it. A guy keeps his hands back, and now you got a problem.
Yeah, you can jam a guy on 2 strikes.
1-2 count. Volquez and Chris Sale have a couple of things in common. One is that their names were mentioned at the trade deadline, both of them. A lot of scouts looking at both of these guys as August 1st came and went. Well hit to left field. Gordon won't get that one. That ball is going to off the wall, gets away from Gordon, and Tyler Saladino with the first hit of the night, a ringing double to left center field.
Yeah, he was just baiting him with that, taking those first 2 fastballs. Put a nice swing on this one. That one, another one, bell tied middle of the plate. Watch his head stay right behind the ball, head down on contact. That's a nice swing by Tyler. Good start. Got to get that run back right here, and JB Shuck, his job is to get him to third somehow, whether he needs to bunt him over, pull the ball, do whatever. But those are the little things I think the Sox have really been lacking in this year, haven't they?
Yes, they have. So you have a choice here. I mean, if you're going to lay down a bunt, you want to make sure you bunt it right at Cuthbert. If you're going to swing away, you've got to get something you can pull.
Yep. And for a left-hander, you know, you move a little closer to the plate, you get a better chance of pulling it. A right-hander, you back off the plate a little bit.
Pulls that one down the line, but foul as JB comes in hitting .213, 3 home runs, 13 driven in. And just about the time they take the job away from JB Shuck, somebody else goes on the disabled list, and JB either comes back from the minor leagues or comes off the bench to fill in center field. And Adam Eaton goes to center, to right, to center, to right, to center, and now back to right. That one up and away, and the count evens at 1.
Well, he looked like he fooled Perez on that one. Almost went back to the screen. He just got a glove on it. You know, Volquez, I look at him, Stoney. I look at a guy. It looks like he throws a heavy ball. Kind of hits with a thud. You know, the sound that it makes, and the ball does have good movement when he throws a good pitch.
He's had some very good years over the course of his career. This year, the exception to that. That one hit to the left side, and the only play back to second base, but good heads-up base running by Tyler Saladino. As soon as he saw that ball hit to the left side, he went back to second.
Yeah,
that goes a base hit.
Oh yeah, base hit right there. Otherwise, he's a dead duck at third. Watch it again, Shuck. Not doing what he's supposed to, but he does find that hole, and there's no way you're going to throw him out at first. And Escobar does the right thing, trying to get him going back to second. But Tyler Saladino, a lot of guys might have gone to third, and they are done. Take that one.
Brings up Tim Anderson with runners at first and second, nobody out. Anderson grounded to short, leading off the ball game. There's the bunt, and it's a good one, leaving Volquez with just 1 play. So the sacrifice 1-3, and both runners move up.
I like that. That's a good play. You know, Timmy's not swinging the bat as well as he was earlier since his call up, but right there he just deadens it. He catches the ball with the end of the bat, and there's no other play for Volquez other than first base. So nice job. 2 runners in scoring position for the Sox 300 hitter Melky Cabrera.
And if you're going to lead off in the major leagues, you best know how to bunt. Anderson can do that. He can bunt for a hit. That's also his 4th sacrifice. As Melky comes up, he drew a base on balls in the 1st inning. In at the corners, Cuthbert and Hosmer. Back in the middle on a ground ball to second. That's going to get one home. And Melky drives in a run. The game is tied at 1. First run of the ball game, and with this first run, eClick Lending will donate $100 to the Pat Tillman Foundation, supporting military veterans and their families.
Very good. They were in at the corners, as Stoney said, but he found the middle of the field. Just kind of played pepper with the second baseman and got himself an RBI, and the Sox are on the board.
That one sliced down the line in left field. Gordon going toward the wall and runs out of room. So for Melky, he drives in his 52nd run of the year. And it's a brand new game, tied at 1. Chris Sale's got a bona fide chance at the Cy Young Award this year, looking for his 15th win. His ERA just a touch over 3. Jose Quintana, another guy without the wins, but the rest of the numbers are right there, including his wins above replacement.
Okay, for the last 3 years, he has been Mr. Tough Luck.
And fouls that one straight back.
We had some giddy up on that one. That was 94 with movement.
Got some guys that probably will battle Chris Sale, certainly. Cole Hamels is 12-4.
Yeah, he's good.
He's been very good. 2.89 ERA. Aaron Sanchez, who's really one of the budding stars with Toronto. He's 11-2. His ERA 2.85. And J.A. Happ from the same team, 15-3, the Blue Jays. That ball hit hard to right field, but Lorenzo Cain right there, and he makes the catch. But the Sox tie it at 1 with a couple of hits and 1 left, and we'll head to the bottom of the 3rd. Tied at 1.
'27th. Come see the White Sox take on the Seattle Mariners at 6:10 p.m. All fans are invited to stay for a spectacular post-game fireworks show presented by Magellan Corporation. For tickets, call 866-SOX-GAME or visit whitesox.com.
It'd be nice of Vin Scully to come in and read that, because
I thought it was great of him.
He's done much better reading it than you do, so I would say stay with Vin. And Chris Sale has a 1-1 game.
Then he's traveling these days, you know.
This is a long way for him to go.
Yes,
I'm not
sir.
sure he'd like the humidity all that much.
Oh boy.
Orlando leading it off. He had a double in the 1st inning and scored the only Kansas City run. And he looks at a fastball for a strike.
This guy, the way he sets up at home plate reminds me of Alex Rios, the White Sox outfielder. Yeah. Watch his mannerisms at home plate.
He does look a lot like him. He would like to be making Alex's money.
Yes.
Alex came over, and that was one of the things that the Sox did. They claimed him on waivers. Toronto did not pull him back.
Right.
And they got Alex and his $70 million salary that went with him. Alex had a long career. He had a good career. He's a good player.
Well, he was with the Royals last year, and that
went right in on his hands, and he fought it off. There's a new injury that it really isn't new, but they're calling it now what it really is, and a lot of guys are experiencing it. Unfortunately, it's called thoracic outlet syndrome. And Luke Hochevar in their bullpen had it, and he's lost for the year. And along with Wade Davis, who's got an elbow problem, that really hurt them out of their pen. So Chris strikes him out with a good fastball. And Kansas City really made it the last couple of years because Ned Yost was able to manage a 6-inning game. Then he turned it over to his bullpen, and it was lights out, see you later. But with the guys in that bullpen getting hurt, to go with Moustakas lost for the year and Kane on the DL and Gordon not really Gordon after the broken wrist, it's just been too much for Kansas City to overcome.
Yeah, Ned was actually a maestro last year. I was amazed. Every time I watched Kansas City play, he just absolutely made every right move you could make. And that produced a world championship. So hats off to Ned Yost, former third base coach for Bobby Cox at Atlanta. That's where he learned his trade.
And that's where he ran into Dayton Moore, who's the general manager of this team that brought him over here. Chesler Cuthbert had a base hit, drove in the only run of the ball game, his 34th of the year. Pops that one up.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, when you talk about left-handed pitchers too, Stoney, you look at Chris Sale. Now, no one can copy that motion, right?
No, I mean, you never teach anybody to throw that much across his body and to have the kind of motion that Chris has, but he uses it very effectively and stays healthy.
Yeah, and it seems like every left-hander has a different release point. Remember Scotty McGregor with Baltimore? He threw about 85 miles an hour, nothing but high fastballs across his body. I think you pitched with him, didn't you, on the same staff? He'd jam you with an 85-mile-an-hour fastball, but he's very smart, and he had the very slow curveball. And guys like John Matlock, Jerry Kuzman, all those guys had different deliveries, different release points. One of the reasons why Sale is so tough to hit.
There's a look at the wins leaders. J.A. Happ with 15, Steven Strasburg with 15. Then it's Chris Sale, Chris Tillman, Rick Porcello. Right back up the middle. And you can understand why the Royals really like this guy. And he's going to create a problem, a good problem to have, because he's taken over every day to play third base. Moustakas is coming back at $8.7 million next year. Then he's a free agent. And one of their #1 prospects, they've got a couple that are right up there, but one of them is Hunter Dozier. He's hitting .308 in Double and Triple-A. He's at 21 home runs combined between the two areas. And so, although they're teaching him to play the outfield, he's a third baseman naturally. And it's a good situation to be in. And for the Royals, they got to decide who's going to play where. But you got a feeling that there's going to be some good young talented players on the horizon for Kansas City.
And since they are going to lose some free agents, and this is not the biggest market in the world, you got to figure you got to bring those guys up and make them, get them to play. There's a few George Bretts out there. Just got to find them.
Yeah,
they're not easy to find.
No. So let me ask you a question. Let's say you're Dayton Moore, and then obviously you wouldn't be sitting here, but you are. You're Dayton Moore. You've got Hosmer a free agent, you got Moustakas a free agent, and maybe, just maybe, you just don't have the money. Who would you choose to invest in, and who might you move?
Hosmer. I'd keep Hosmer. I think he's going to be more consistent.
Right down the line, and fortunately foul.
And he's got that dynamic personality that I really like too. He's a leader. And not to say take away from Moustakas, who's come on strong the last couple of years, but I would definitely prefer Hosmer.
Moustakas probably has a little more power. Hosmer has stayed remarkably healthy. Hosmer is really one of the elite defenders at first base. And Cuthbert, talking to folks in Kansas City, they believe he might be a touch better than Moustakas defensively, who's still pretty good down there. Kane gets around on that one pretty quickly. When you played here on the artificial surface, when you had a day like today, how hot would it feel down there?
Ooh, I'll tell you, if it was a day game, you had to put your feet in ice between innings. It was really hot. Yeah. So I think they did a nice job putting in the regular grass here. Of course, St. Louis was the same way.
St. Louis was horrific. That one fouled off to the right. They used to have a thermometer down on the field that told you the temperature was anywhere from 135, 136 down on the field, and you could actually see the ripples of the heat coming off the artificial surface.
Yep.
It wasn't too pleasant.
No. Real hot.
2-2 count. And he fouls that one off. So no sooner does Detroit lose Nick Castellanos, and he's going to be lost with a non-displaced fracture of the finger. They have to put Cameron Maben on the disabled list.
Yeah.
Maben with a grade 2 sprain. Castellanos lost for a month. The loss of both of those guys, especially the way Detroit's been playing, this big losses they try to track down the Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, hand injury is really tough because it takes a few months to get that thing strong again. Wow.
Down the line in right field, that's going to fall. Cuthbert on the run. And he's held up at third base, which is somewhat surprising to me.
I thought he had it. There was a fumble. Didn't quite get to it. Melky didn't quite field that cleanly. Now Chris has a chance to pitch out of this mess, second and third with one out. Looks like another hanging breaking ball. Yeah. Waited back, pulls his hands in, right down that left field line. Melky with a little bit of difficulty. I thought he could have scored here.
Put on the brakes and got back. Cuthbert does not have great speed. And you got Hosmer and Morales coming up. Only one out here in the third inning. Runners at second and third. Saladino back on the grass on the right side. Tim Anderson well back, almost straight away shortstop. That fastball misses away.
And even though it's a lefty on lefty matchup here with first base open, I wouldn't mind going around this guy.
And hitting .375 lifetime against Chris Sale with a couple of home runs and 4 driven in.
Yeah, he hangs in there nicely, doesn't he, against lefties? And this is as good as tough as it gets.
That one's fouled back. Whew. We'd like to welcome all of our viewers on Fort Wayne, Indiana, watching on Frontier Communications. So welcome.
All you Fort Wayners.
One misses low and in. Sometimes you just see the ball better against certain guys. Now, not many lefties will see the ball very well against Chris Sale, but Eric Hosmer, for whatever reason, does.
He must be hitting most of that 195 that left-handers are hitting against Chris this year.
Seemingly a lot of it.
I can't believe lefties are hitting that high off them.
Base hit left field. Here comes Kane. They're waving him home. Here comes the throw. He's safe at the plate as he kicks the ball away from Deanna Navarro. If he holds on to it, he's out by plenty. A great throw by Melky. Kane kicks it out of his glove.
Yep. Well, this is just a great job of hitting a fastball away. He lets it get deep. Watch where his point of contact is. His head behind the baseball. That's just beautiful hitting by Hosmer. He's a heck of a player. And Melky delivers. The mail is right there, but Deanna Navarro just can't hold on to it. His bang bang at home, but he was definitely going to be out.
And they're calling it a single, taking second on the throw. 2 runs batted in, giving him 63 and giving the Royals a 3-1 lead. the play at the plate. He kicks it out of the glove.
Dave, I wonder if he catches it, brings that right hand in there to try and help him catch, secure the ball. But he did have to move to his left slightly.
I would say these days, with the catcher's gloves like they are, almost like a first baseman's glove instead of the old catcher's glove, instead of reaching in with two hands, more times than not, they'll use a one-hand tag. That time it came back to Brennan, and the ball gets away. It's going to be a wild pitch. And Chris has to cover the plate as that one rolls all the way in front of the Sox dugout. That was what they meant when they invented the call wild pitch.
Boy, he misses that one. That was outside of the left-handed batter's box. So the infield's going to play in now. They got to cut that runoff at home. Tough hitter, though, at the plate.
Morales flied out the first time, and he swings right through a high fastball.
Got a little extra on that one. That was 95. He had no chance upstairs. That high fastball, you know, they tell you to keep the ball down. That high fastball, when you're throwing it like that, is a lot harder to hit than a low fastball.
I think it's probably 3 or 4 miles an hour faster, because you have some time. You can drop the head of the bat on a low fastball, but a high fastball, I mean, it's a matter of physics. You can't get around near as quickly because you drop the head of the bat, you got nothing.
A lot easier. That's why there's so many more low ball hitters now. You got to get your hands above the ball to hit that pitch right there. That's not easy to do at 95 miles an hour.
And what's happened, and the phrase has been, change the eye level, elevate. And that's one of the things that has come into play for more pitchers. Oh, Jose Quintana uses it perfectly. He gets a lot of strikeouts up there. This is center field. J.B. Shuck coming on. And no advance. Hosmer has to wait at third base. J.B. had all the best of it. It was a line drive. He got a good break.
Yeah, really came right behind that ball, too. Got himself in the great throwing position. And he fired a bullet down there. Hosmer was not going to score on that play.
That allows the infield a chance to play back. Salvador Perez, guy who's been a leader since he's donned a uniform in their system. They signed him as a 16-year-old. If you can find a catcher, and this is the ideal situation, you find a catcher who's a leader, you get yourself really something special, because you don't find many of them. In lieu of the catcher being a leader, you want your shortstop to be a leader. You got to have one or the other. Chopper giving some ground and throwing it across is Todd Frazier, and it's out of the inning, but not before the Royals score 2, take the 3-1 lead, and will head into the top of the 4th. Jose Quintana looks for his 10th win of the year as our Sox face Ian Kennedy and the Royals. Join us for the first pitch at 7 right here on CSN Chicago.
Well, George Brett must have heard us talking about him.
And he stopped in the booth to say hello to you.
And you.
Well, he's saying hello to me because he absolutely crushed me. Like 800.
There's a lot of guys that he crushed.
Yeah, that's
He's
true.
my favorite player of all time that I ever played against.
He was something.
Best guys, too.
Right back up the middle. Nice play. Flip to Escobar to first.
Gotta be kidding.
I think they got to take a look at that. It was certainly well done with Mondesi and Escobar, but it looked to me like it was very close at first base.
Well, if it holds true, it's 4-6-3 on the potential out. Did he hit the? No, he didn't miss the pitcher. What a play by Mondesi. He knows he can't throw from that position. And a great job by Escobar with a strong throw. Let's see it again.
Boy, it's awfully close at first base.
Really close.
But a heads-up play by a very young second baseman. And it looks like they're going to play on.
Wow.
Justin Morneau grounded out to Hosmer the first time up. 4-6-3. Just an excellent play. Heads up by a really young second baseman who knew he had no chance. Good straight change. He had him well out in front.
I think that's the best changeup he's thrown so far.
He's getting a feel for it. It's like everything else. I mean, he had tremendous problems in the first inning. That's why tonight he gave that thank goodness cheer when he got out of the first inning without giving up any runs, although he did walk Melky, but that was it. Take a look at some pretty good numbers for Edinson Volquez, who's really struggled the last few times out. Line drive base hit.
Well, that shows you how big that play was just a few moments ago. That would have been first and second, nobody out. Nice job by Justin Morneau, who's a very good low ball hitter. I've always thought of him as a good low ball hitter. Just drops ahead of the bat, as we talked about, and finds the hole. Oh, notice every good swing, that head is right behind the baseball. There's no flying off. And do that every time, you can become George Brett.
Not too many of those guys around.
Yeah.
And the strange part about George Brett is a better major league hitter than a minor league hitter.
No question.
Much better. And you know, he obviously wasn't a bad minor league hitter, but he got here on this artificial surface surrounded by a lot of great players with Kansas City, and he started to flourish.
And Charlie Lau, best hitting coach ever.
Don Frazier with a fly out the first time up, and he fouls that one straight back. Outfield very deep all the way around. Todd with his 30 home runs, looking for his 70th driven in. That fastball inside.
How big is it when you're a pitcher to have a 1-2 count as opposed to this 2-1 hitters count? Not that big a deal. I thought it was huge as a hitter.
It makes all the difference in the world. Greg Maddux, who won 355 games and made the Hall of Fame, thought that was the biggest pitch in the at-bat. I differed with him. He said the 1-1 pitch was the biggest pitch in the at-bat. I differed with him only because if you throw a first pitch strike, you can go to 0-2. Once you get to 1-1, yes, it's a very big pitch on 2-1. The first pitch strike to me is the most important pitch you will throw to a hitter each and every time out, because if you get to 0-2, hitters don't hit anything.
Yeah,
you
I would agree
pitches
with that.
to get them out. That one pops straight up. And Hosmer calling for it. Let the Gold Glove take it. And they do.
The first 25,000 people who attend the White Sox game will receive a game card courtesy of Jewel Osco with a coupon for $10 off a purchase of $100 or more. Jewel Osco, your moment is our moment. Purchase tickets today at whitesox.com or call 866-SOX-GAME. I like it when Vinny does it.
Yanner Navarro. Line drive foul. That ball hit hard. He was a strikeout victim in the second. He bats with Justin Morneau at first base. You know, I always felt that Kansas City had a huge advantage in this ballpark because they always tailored it to the park. You never came in with more speed than Kansas City had when the artificial surface was here.
Right.
And the same thing is true with the ball club that won the World Series. In the outfield, they had Gordon, a 4-time Gold Glover, in left. Lorenzo Cain, one of the best center fielders around, in center. And Alex Rios played right field for them. So they had guys out there where if it stayed in the air, it wasn't going to fall. And most teams coming in didn't have that kind of defense. Plus, Escobar, a very, very good shortstop. Gold Glovers on the corners at Hosmer and Moustakas. And Infante or whoever they had, depending, at second base. Plus, you had one of the great catchers in the game, Salvador Perez, who could single-handedly shut down a running game. So when you have that kind of defense, that many Gold Gloves in your defense, and you're playing in a park where defense is paramount. I mean, you know, you can hit the ball out of here, but you don't find many people that come in and beat you with home runs in this park.
That's a great point too, and pitchers can also throw the ball up and out over the plate and say, let's see how far you can hit it, to most hitters. Now, some guys will defy that law, but for the most part, throw it up and away and see how far they can hit it, and most of the time it's going to stay in the park, especially with those fast guys in the outfield.
And the philosophy Kansas City had was, you will make a mistake before our team will, and that's the ideal situation for anybody. That's what you want your team to feel like. If you stay close, you're going to win the game because the other team will make the mistake and you won't. That one missing off the outside corner. So the count goes to 3-2. Hosmer will most likely be behind Morneau. If he's not, there'll be an investigation. And he'll be running with the pitch. Tyler Saladino in the on-deck circle.
Yeah,
you played some first base during your time.
I did.
Did you like it?
Yeah, you get to talk to everybody, you know, the umpires.
For you, that's a natural.
It's good. Yeah, the first base coach was usually a real friendly guy, and talk to the hitters, ask them how they did it when they got there. Maybe I'd copy their stance next time.
3-2 pitch, chopped right at Hosmer, who's going to take it himself, and that's it for the Sox half of the fourth. We'll move to the bottom of the fourth. It's 3-1 Royals. Chicago White Sox RBI team. They're the first ever winner of the RBI World Series championship. They defeated Atlanta Metro RBI 5-4. That was held in Cincinnati. They won the junior RBI World Series. Chicago's Lorenz Elian, 15 years old, from Simeon High School, was named the MVP of the junior division championship game. He was 2 for 2. His base hit knocked in 2 runs, the tying and the go-ahead run, and then he pitched 3 innings with 3 strikeouts to make it hold up. The RBI program is administered by Major League Baseball and has served approximately 2 million young people since its inception. Congratulations. It's a wonderful accomplishment. They were 6-0 in this tournament. They wanted the #1 seed. They got it. They made it hold up, and now they're the champs.
And that's not easy to go in those tournaments, 6-0. I can attest to that. You just run out of pitching.
You do that.
And great job.
And they had some hitting ball club. So it's the bottom third of the order against Chris Sale, Gordon, Escobar, and Mondesi. Gordon looks at a fastball for a strike. Alex Gordon had a base hit to lead off the second inning, only to see Mondesi ground into a very spiffy 1-6-3 double play. Ball fouled off to the left.
Well, the only thing I see with Chris tonight, Stoney, and correct me if I'm wrong, is I don't think he's taken enough off his breaking ball, velocity-wise. I'd like to see him a little bit slower with it, so that would optimize his fastball, too. There's a heck of a pitch.
Whew. Gordon couldn't hit it, so he laid off, and he got the benefit of the call. Good 0-2 pitch. Chris is winless in his last 4. 0-3. 4-point ERA, and that one misses inside. No, I'll agree with you that the slider, like the curveball, is a rotation, not a velocity pitch. There's some guys that throw it harder. Chris can throw it awfully hard.
There, right there.
That was a dandy. But he took something off. It was 80 miles an hour, not the 89 put-away slider.
Right, or the 87 that he hung earlier in the ballgame. See, that has got a great movement right there. It's got movement and depth. Sideways. That's a big old swerve. That's hard to hit.
That's the 3rd strikeout for Chris. He hasn't walked anybody yet, and he faces Alcides Escobar, who came out of the Milwaukee organization. Came over in a deal that also brought Lorenzo Cain.
Yes. Greinke, wasn't it?
That was the Zach Greinke trade. That turned out to be a dandy for Kansas City. Greinke has moved on to a few different places. Moved on $207 million with the Diamondbacks, just getting back off the disabled list now. Greinke's a terrific pitcher. Had a wonderful year with the Dodgers last year. Parlayed it into the big contract, but things have moved very well for the Royals.
Yes.
They still have Cain. They still have Escobar. And he's always done well against Chris Sale.
Well, you look at these 2 guys, a shortstop and a center fielder. Can't ask for more than that. And, you know, Greinke wasn't going to stay here anyway. You know, they just couldn't afford him. There's no way Kansas City could afford that kind of contract.
Oh, a terrific trade. They've made a couple of good ones. They had a #1 prospect in Will Myers. They traded him to Tampa Bay. They got James Shields back, and they got a guy who was not exactly the greatest starter in the world. Name of Wade Davis, who they moved to the bullpen.
He was pretty good.
Only to become one of the best closers in baseball for a few years.
Yeah.
Davis now injured. They're not sure if he's going to come back. He's had a couple of different elbow problems. He was hurt earlier in the year. They said they rushed him back. This time they're not going to rush him back because, quite frankly, there's not a whole lot to rush him back for.
Right.
But he's too valuable a piece of bullpenage to get hurt.
Yeah. You know, Will Myers has had a good career for himself. He was an all-star this year, but he's now on his 3rd team with San Diego.
But, you know, the light may be just turning on for him.
Yes.
Because he didn't play as they thought he was going to in Tampa Bay, but this year had a terrific year, and maybe he's just starting to come alive as San Diego tries to retool. And you know, it's difficult. They have A.J. Preller, who's one of the most aggressive of all the general managers, and he has tried to assemble his team only to disassemble it. They traded Matt Kemp. Atlanta got him, although San Diego paying a good deal of money in that trade. That popped up, Saladino calls but gives way to Adam Eaton, and he makes the catch. So 2 up, 2 down here in the bottom of the 4th.
You can join the White Sox in honoring Chicago area police and fire departments on Thursday, August 25th. The first 10,000 fans receive a special Police and Fire Night commemorative T-shirt presented by UL. For more than a century, UL has been committed to fire safety. Learn more at ul.com/fire. To purchase tickets, visit whitesox.com/PDFD or call 866-SOX-GAME.
You always have to watch the bunt from Raul Mondesi, who grounded into the double play. The first double play he's grounded into as a major leaguer. That one off the end of the bat and foul. He's had an opportunity to come up probably before they thought he was going to, because they've had all kinds of injuries in that infield.
It is amazing. You know, I can remember my first year in the major leagues in 1973 with the Dodgers. We had 25 guys all year, not one injury. 25 same guys the whole year. 74 we had one injury. Tommy John had Tommy John surgery. That was it.
That's pretty amazing. How does that happen?
I don't know.
Like Lou Gehrig.
That's right.
Although I would rather have Tommy John surgery if I had the choice.
Me too.
Yeah. I remember Tommy John coming back, and I remember he couldn't extend his hand. He came back throwing in front of the Dodger bullpen, throwing 10 feet. It's kind of an amazing comeback. He won a lot of games after that.
Yes, he did. I remember I caught him every day in the wintertime after the surgery. And we through batting practice, we would find a field. He was really dedicated to his comeback, and he did a marvelous job. And there's another guy, Tommy John, I think qualifies for the Hall of Fame. What did he win, 285 in that area?
He got him. So 3 up, 3 down in the bottom of the 4th. We'll head to the 5th inning. 3-1 Royals. Last out of the inning, and this one looking the first time he struck anybody out looking. In our Quicken Loan Rocket Arms, his batting average against the AL leaders, Marco Estrada. From Toronto, Justin Verlander, Corey Kluber, Chris Sale at 218, and Danny Duffy of these Royals.
Well, that Marco Estrada's got some kind of changeup, doesn't he?
That's his. It's not his only pitch, but by far his best pitch.
Oh,
That's what he lives and dies on.
Well, it makes that 90-mile-an-hour fastball of his look about 96 to the eye of the hitter.
Okay, so this year, we talked about some very good pitchers. We talked about Chris Sale with an opportunity to win the Cy Young Award. But you think this would be the year for a closer. Is that written to Baltimore?
I think so. When you quoted his numbers earlier, 34 for 34, 0.5 earned run average. They're batting what, way lower than 100 against them, aren't they? So
Actually, yes. Well, he's given up 22 hits and 46 and 2/3 innings. I mean, it's you look at those numbers, and it looks like
Little League.
They put an older guy into Little League, and he's dominating.
That's exactly right.
The
big kid.
A 98-mile-an-hour sinker.
Yeah. Yeah, he's brutal on righties and lefties, too, with all that movement and speed.
And he was a starter who was okay.
Yeah.
And then they moved him to the pen, where he's throwing 5 miles an hour harder with really heavy sink. You just don't see that very often. Ground ball to short. Escobar up with it, got plenty of time, guns it across, and gets him. So he's 1 for 2 with that leadoff double in the 3rd inning.
Escobar smooth. You can live out your dream of becoming a professional baseball player by attending the White Sox Dodgers Fantasy Camp January 15th through 21st at the spring training home of the White Sox and Dodgers at Camelback Ranch in Glendale, Arizona. For more info, call the Fantasy Camp hotline 623-302-5078. And you can sign up by going to whitesox.com and click on Fantasy Camp. You will love it. The 2 greatest storytellers in the world will be there. Our own Art Kushner and, of course, the great Tommy Lasorda. They'll rock your world.
Those are really great experiences for guys who always wanted to see what Major League spring training was like. It's nothing like what will happen to you, but it's still, you'll have a lot of fun.
The key word there is fun. Yeah, we really do have a great time, and Tommy gives his time and energy. And of course, Cave, there's not 2 better storytellers in the world than these 2 guys. We really have a lot of fun. So think about it, guys.
Okay, trivia question.
Okay.
First fantasy camp ever. When and who?
Me?
No.
Oh,
nice
who did it?
though.
I would.
But it was a good guess. Always guess yourself when you have you have one of those.
Robert De Niro. No, I would say Baltimore.
Really?
No.
No.
Detroit.
Good guess. That was a really good guess, and you were close.
Cleveland.
In the Midwest. No, actually, it was a guy not really known for fantasy camp baseball, and his name is Richard Melman from Let Us Entertain You.
Oh yeah.
And I was the manager along with Charlie Grimm. I managed the Misfits.
Oh, perfect.
And the '69 Cub team were the opposition, and it was the first one ever. It was 1983. It was an unbelievable experience, and I remember one guy literally, he lasted 1 ground ball. He was playing third base. They hit him a ground ball. He crossed over and tore his hamstring and had to have surgery. Lasted 1 ground ball. But that was a lot of fun, and people came from all over. They had a lot of guys from the Merc, a lot of guys, just, it was one of those experiences that, you wonder how it's going to work out, and it worked out unbelievably well.
Yeah.
That rifle right back up the middle. Tim Anderson aboard. Keeps the inning alive with 2 outs.
He waited back nicely on hanging breaking ball. Well, that sounds eerily similar to our own Dr. Jack Ruby, who lasted 1 play. He went into the hole at shortstop in a fantasy
and he
camp,
never came out?
Never came back. And, of course, our Jay Pinsky and Aaron Michelson ran up to him, and instead of picking him up, putting ice on him, they uttered those immortal words. No refunds. Yeah, Dr. Jack, if you're listening, I know you remember that.
Melky Cabrera comes up. Melky drove in the lone Sox run in the 3rd. Ground ball to second base. Quick throw to first.
Oh, boy.
And he just barely got back in, and that will teach a young player something. When you get a catcher who loves to drop the knee behind a left-hand hitter, you better be careful on a secondary lead.
And a good first baseman will apply that tag. That looked Yadier Molina-like, didn't it? Boy, at least he went back to the proper part of the bag, way back. That farthest corner where Hosmer couldn't put the tag on him. He goes back to the front of the bag, and he's out.
Just a touch back on the Cy Young Award this year. By a wide margin, the leader in wins above replacement for starting pitchers is Corey Kluber, whose record's 11-8. And although the wins aren't there, the rest of the numbers are spectacular for Kluber, who seems to be getting better and better.
Yeah, he got a great slider. That's his real go-to pitch. I saw him make Buster Posey look real bad on it one time, and that convinced me that he's good.
Cleveland leading Washington 2-1, that game at the top of the ninth in the nation's capital. So 3-0 on Melky. Sox 2 runs down with a chance here in the 5th inning. Adam Eaton in the on-deck circle. 1 walk for Volquez. That Melky in the 1st inning. It's a fastball for a strike.
I'll be honest with you, Stoney. Volquez is throwing a lot better than I thought he was going to be tonight.
He's thrown a lot better than he's thrown recently. This is one of his better efforts. That ball fouled back. And now Hosmer looks in the dugout, and he's looking at Ned Yost to see if he wants him to play behind Anderson, who's got pretty good speed. Now, do you want to give a guy in this situation, Tom? Do you want to give him an extra step or two on the lead?
That's a good question. It depends on how much of a pull hitter that guy at home plate is.
Well, you got Melky.
Melky, I'm going to say I keep him on.
That's exactly what Ned Yost said.
More than likely, he's not going to hit that hole. A fastball away.
Line drive, base hit. And here comes Anderson. That ball to Orlando. The throw back in. Here comes Anderson. The throw to the plate. He's safe. So falling behind 3-0, working his way back to a full count. That's what got Tim Anderson all the way from first base, and he was in easily. Shows you just how fast this young man can run.
Wow. He was cutting those corners too. That's not a bad pitch right there. A fastball sinker down and away. Melky head down, head behind the ball, goes and gets it, and he's digging right here. He's bringing him. Kind of reminds me of the one dog coming around that bases, Lance Johnson, of years gone by. The only disappointing thing is that Melky's still at first base.
Yes, he is.
He became a spectator.
It's a 3-2 game, and this game has always been and always will be won or lost 90 feet at a time, whether you take it or whether you give it up. In a close game, these are real important bases. You either take or you don't. One fouled off. Adam 0 for 2, a couple of fly balls. Melky has driven in both runs, giving him 53.
Oh yeah.
Base hit right field. Well, Melky has to stop at second. I don't think he runs on Lorenzo Cain if he's at second base anyway, but he's at second instead of third. Melky leading the league in hugs. Alcides Escobar.
Nice job of hitting there by Adam. Hit it hard. And that sets up Abreu at the plate with a chance to do some damage. There's another hanging breaking ball. Watch his hands creating that hang time. Hands stay back, head behind the ball, and whammo. Good job. Hands above the ball, too. No, he's not going to score on that. But a lot more ways to score from third than from second.
And Jose Abreu 0 for 2 out in a spectacular play by Mondesi with the help of Escobar. A 4.36 put out.
Yeah, that's going to make some highlight reels. Heck of a play. Well, he is not the spitting image of his dad, is he? His dad was a big guy.
Well, he's still got a lot of development left.
True. That's true. He might.
His father was wide. He was a wide and thick man.
Look out. Oh, he got a little extra there, 95, with some movement.
They having a nice conversation, animated, with Salvador Perez. Little looper to right field.
Get in there.
That ball's going to fall. Here comes Melky. And the game is tied at 3. Adam Eaton to third base, and Jose Abreu drives in his 61st run, his first hit of the night, and 4 straight singles have tied it at 3.
And it all started with 2 outs. That's amazing. You know, you can jam good hitters, and that's a heck of a pitch. Great pitch right at the waist right here at the belt. It's really hard to get your hands to this pitch. That's why when you're as strong as Abreu and you take a full swing, this can happen. There's no hits on the end of the bat, but there's a lot on the handle, believe it or not. He's a strong man.
And Dave Island, the pitching coach, to talk with Volquez. Everything looked beautiful. Saladino and Shuck 1 and 2, and all of a sudden 4 straight singles. And there's a big difference. We talked about it earlier. A big difference between a fastball that's thigh high and a fastball that's eye high. A lot easier to hit the one that's thigh high, especially inside out swing. It tied up the game.
Yeah. Well, that really wasn't a bad pitch. He hung a couple breaking balls earlier than that, especially the one to Eaton.
Justin Morneau is 1 for 2. Runners at first and third, 2 outs. And everything even across the board. 3, 7, and 0 with 3 left on base for both teams.
I thought it'd be a little closer than this when I showed up today. Glad I came. I'm glad I got here. Thank you.
Yeah, Delta closed.
I don't know if they're ready when
flights.
You are. They weren't ready for me, I'll tell you that.
But all's well that ends well. You had to go through 6 stops, but you got here.
You know, but the last stagecoach run was a little tough. You know, that was a little hard.
Well, you have to thank Bob Grimm, who's done,
thanks,
done
Bob.
a whole lot of work trying to get you here.
Now if you can just get Jason here, huh?
I think that he'll be able to do that. 2-1 count on Justin Morneau. Nobody up in the pen to this point. Line drive base hit. Sox take the lead as Justin Morneau with his second hit, his 9th run batted in, and the 5th straight single.
You know, Justin Morneau is a former MVP, and I know he's not nearly what he used to be, especially when he was with Colorado, but he gives a presence in the middle of that Sox lineup that you really need. Now there's a fastball away, and that's what his bread and butter is. He likes to pitch, get those arms extended like he did. There's a bullet into that gap.
Now we're going to see the bullpen up and going for the Royals.
Great hitting this inning. Wow.
That one misses inside. Todd Frazier 0 for 2. Matt Strahm. He's a left-hander with really good stuff. You're really going to be impressed by him. He can get it and rush it up there, and they really like him. That one drops over for a strike.
Yeah, he fooled the Todd right there. Oh yeah,
line drive, but it's right at Gordon, who almost lost in the lights but makes the catch. And the inning over, but not before the Sox take a 4-3 lead on 5 straight singles. And we'll head to the bottom of the 5th and Chris Sale. Appreciate that, and it's sad news for Prince Fielder and the Texas Rangers. It's speculated, at least, they don't have an insurance policy on him, and they owe him $20 million a year through the year 2020. That trade for Ian Kinsler turned out to be twofold for the Tigers. Not only did they get Kinsler, but they could move Cabrera to first base, where his career will last a whole lot longer.
Oh, yeah.
So if it is indeed the end for Prince Fielder, it's really a sad way to end it up.
Yeah, he was one of those guys that played 160 games a year, too, and he was with Milwaukee. Oh, here we go, Stoney. Here's that shutdown inning we need.
There's a career numbers, a .283 hitter.
Yeah.
319 home runs. Over 1,000 runs batted in. 6-time All-Star, 3 Silver Sluggers.
Yeah.
And the bat goes flying, and hopefully, yeah, it stays, fortunately, in the field of play and doesn't hit anybody.
Stay out of there. Cameras are valuable.
Orlando 1 for 2. Leadoff double in the first inning. He scored on the Cuthbert single. The Royals had the lead, but the Sox have come roaring back.
Oh, yeah. No chance on that
It
one.
was a fastball right by him. It's upstairs. And for the second time in a row, Orlando down on strikes.
He swung like Tony Orlando at that one.
That's 5 strikeouts for Chris.
Yeah, see that high fastball? It's hard to get your hands above the ball with that velocity. Well, that's a shutdown inning now for Chris Sale. Your team takes the lead. You should shut him down here. Had a great chance of winning that ball game.
And Cuthbert 2 for 2. Looks at a slow breaking ball, and that's really been the key. You pointed it out early that the breaking ball might have been a little too hard with a lot of spin but not much break. Now he's taken a whole lot off, and it's been much more effective as Cuthbert pops it straight up. They're calling for it, and he makes the catch. So quickly, 2 up and 2 down in pursuit of that shutdown inning.
What do we got? 79 pitches.
Third inning, a tough inning.
Oh boy.
30 of them. That's the inning that Single by Cuthbert, the double by Kane, and Hosmer punched the ball through the left side to drive in 2. Kansas City took a 3-1 lead. So Lorenzo Cain, 2 out, nobody on. Swings and misses at a high changeup.
He really hasn't thrown that many straight changes tonight, has he?
And that's one of the things when he has some problems, he kind of forgets about the straight change. It's such a good pitch for him because the release point is perfect, the arm velocity is perfect, and sometimes he just works on other things and forgets about that one.
Yeah, and ideally, if you throw it 10 miles an hour short of your fastball, you're going to get a lot of outs or non-solid contact. Isn't that generally what the ratio is?
You hit it right in the middle,
up?
somewhere from 9 to 11.
Okay.
It's just perfect if you can do that. Some guys throw it a little bit harder than others. It depends, but 9 to 11 is the general philosophy for a straight change, the disparity between the straight change and the fastball. Little looper to center field. J.B. Shuck will put it away easily, and it's 1-2-3 in the 5th. The shutdown inning accomplished. Sox lead 4-3 as we head into the top of the 6th. Upcoming schedule, and there's the road trip. 2 more with the Royals tomorrow and Thursday, and then it's on to Miami for the Marlins, a good Marlin team, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Then the day off on Monday, and the Indians provide the opposition next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Brought to you by PNC Bank. So Volquez to Navarro. Deanna 0 for 2, strikeout. Soft ground ball to Hosmer. That ended the 4th inning. What did you think about the Dodgers sending down Yasiel Puig?
It's interesting because I'm not there. We're not there to see what actually is going on within the ball club and in the clubhouse and stuff. I really didn't have a problem with it. I'm sure he did.
There's a base hit left field. Well, when you look at what Puig has done, and I'm talking about strictly on the field, forgetting anything off the field or anything about disposition or things along those lines, just look at the numbers. He started out, had a great first half of that first season. Had a very good year the first year. But since then, every year the numbers have decreased, and he was hitting in the 230s this year. And so sometimes, and I don't know if you ever went down. I went down one time, and it was, you fight to get up there. You see the bright lights, you see the 3 decks, you're in the major leagues, you're pretty happy about it. You get sent down, and it truly is a wake-up call. I was only sent down one time, but when I got down there, you're on a plane, so that's different. I mean, you don't really feel it. You don't feel it till you walk into that clubhouse of the AAA team after you leave the major leagues. But if you do that once, you never want to do it again.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the message they're trying to send to Puig. And also the same thing with Minnesota. They sent down Byron Buxton, who they've given a couple of opportunities. He hasn't been able to take it over yet. They're talking about Miguel Sano. Now, that's a different story. He's really been a difference maker offensively at times. But I don't know if that's going to come true. But Byron Buxton going down, this is a guy that by all acclamation was the #1 prospect in the major leagues.
Yeah.
And they send him down to work on a whole lot of things that he's not doing as a 9 or perhaps a 1 hitter before too long.
Yeah, you know, with Puig, he became real vulnerable to the inside fastball. You know, he had that long swing. He developed a long swing. It was almost like he was showing his numbers to the pitcher and then sweeping his bat and really vulnerable with really slowing up his bat. And then you bounce the breaking ball and he become vulnerable there too because he wasn't seeing it. So he's late on the fastball and way too early on the breaking stuff.
When Hawk and I saw him in spring training that first year with the Dodgers,
oh yeah,
he looked like Superman.
Yeah.
He got 10 straight hits, 10 consecutive hits. That ball up the middle. Escobar's got it. The flip to Mondesi and a double play. So they've shown you some unbelievable plays up the middle. And this is a double play. Not the old-fashioned way.
I'll tell you what, these guys are fun to watch. That's not an easy play, but look at him, Escobar with his glove, and then Mondesi just bare hands it, so nobody really did it the right way. They did it the exact opposite, the way they should have, and it made it look so easy.
It's pretty difficult to get a decent flip when you're using your glove.
I know. How do you do that?
And Mondesi with the bare hand and throw. Tyler Saladino grounds into the double play, leaving it up to J.B. Shuck, who's 1 for 2.
You know, when I first saw Yasiel Puig, I thought of Bo Jackson. Built a lot like him.
And he could absolutely fly. I remember he hit a ball to left field, which was a routine single. They got the ball in, and he was sliding into second base. I couldn't believe a guy 6'3", 240 could run like that. But you're right, the comparison to Bo Jackson was inevitable, only he was heavier than Bo was.
Mm-hmm. And he could throw like Bo too. Pretty close.
Yes, he could. And still can. It's just maybe things will turn on for him as he goes down the minor leagues. That's back up the middle for the second hit for J.B. Shuck to keep the inning alive. And for the Sox, that's 10 hits. And the bullpen up and going once again. Todd Frazier, the only one in the lineup without a hit.
And Todd probably hit the hardest ball last inning, that line out to left field.
We're only in the top of the 6th. Tim Anderson, with 2 out and nobody on, lined one back up the middle and eventually scored as that ball fouled off to the right side. That started things off. It started a parade of 5 straight singles. Anderson, Cabrera, Eaton, Abreu, Morneau. And those 5 singles led to 3 runs. And that's the margin, 4-3. Sox lead in the top of the 6th. Good lead at first base by J.B. Shuck, but you run against Salvador Perez at your peril.
Another thing about all those hits the Sox got too, Stoney, they were in the middle of the field. If they weren't trying to overswing, turn it over, turn the top hand over and hit a weak ground ball. Nice job of hitting.
Good sweeping breaking ball. You know you're pretty good when you've given up 34 stolen bases to the opposition and you've thrown them out 34 times. That's 50%.
Yeah,
that's
good.
As good as it gets, and better than just about everybody in baseball.
Yeah.
34 for 68.
A lot of them are the pitchers they're stealing on too.
He threw the high fastball by him. So the inning ends, and we'll head to the bottom of the 6th. Sox lead by 1. Brought to you by American Sail. He's gone 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, hasn't walked anybody, and he's fanned 5. But things getting a whole lot better for Chris as he's retired the last 8 in a row. So a tough 3rd inning, but he retired the last 2, then a 1-2-3 4th, a 1-2-3 5th, and we'll lead it off with Eric Hosmer, who's 2 for 2 with a couple driven in, and he's had Chris's number over the course of his career, and certainly tonight. Good fastball over the outside corner. Why do you think it is, Tommy, that teams are running less and less? Good play by Abreu. Chris Sale where he should be, and it's a 3-1 put out.
You know, I think part of it is the fact that they're swinging and missing so much more. You know, you're not putting on running plays and, you know, hit and runs and things like that because, I don't know, guys, I think have longer swings right now. You know, most of the time these guys got their finger over the knob of the bat and wrapping it a lot of times, doing the toe tap leg kick and a lot of excessive movement that, and I don't know. That to me is one of the reasons, but I think teams are just reluctant to run themselves out of innings, maybe.
Do you think that the influx of sabermetrics has a lot to do with not running as much?
Ooh.
I'll give you for instance. Baltimore has 14 stolen bases all year. They've been thrown out 9 times. They've only tried to steal 23 bases. So Buck Showalter doesn't want to give up any outs, much like Earl Weaver, who made the Hall of Fame doing this.
Right.
But this is really extreme. 14 stolen bases. We're 2/3 of the way through the season. He just feels with the bangers he has, why give up an out on the bases?
Especially hitting in that ballpark too. I think, yeah, and another reason too is more hitter-friendly ballparks where you really don't have to make use of that. Although that's a part of the game that I really miss. I love the Ricky Hendersons and the Willie Wilsons. Watching those guys runs was so much fun.
You talked about Willie Wilson and what he did in this ballpark and how he could do it. You know, when he came to this team, it was the artificial surface, and Willie was a center fielder who had 230 hits in 1980. I mean, he could get it done and was so fast.
Yeah.
He was so much bigger than people thought because he was a burner, and he was perfect for center field here. But you're talking about 230 hits. That's something that people just don't do anymore.
Yeah. Well, he caused them to move maybe Amos Otis to a corner outfield spot. No, Amos was a pretty darn good center fielder too.
And when you have the artificial surface and you have the spacious dimensions of this ballpark, you better have a guy that can go get him alley to alley, and he could certainly do that.
Yeah.
Andres Morales is 0 for 2, a couple of fly balls as he looks at a changeup away, and the count goes to 3-2. One out here in the bottom of the 6th. Sox lead by a run. And there's Salvi Perez in the on-deck circle. That one yanked foul. So for those of you not hearing Ken Harrelson's voice, he's back in Chicago. He's a little under the weather. He promises he will be back for the Cleveland series, the 3-game series, at the tail end of this 9-game trip. And we went out and tried to get the best we possibly could, but we couldn't, so we brought in Tom Paciorek.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'll be here throughout the week. Actually, I won't.
Crowd, I'll tell you, you know.
No, it's great to have you here, and I know
Thanks,
you getting back, watching the ball club, getting a chance to see it up close and personal is always a good thing. And you thought you were getting away from the heat and humidity of Atlanta, only to see what's here in Kansas City.
Not much different. Boy, there's a good fastball. No, check that. That was a changeup, a high changeup. It looked like he just threw it right by him. That was weird. I guess it was the arms. Yeah, it was. He's way out in front of that one.
Yeah, when Chris goes to the straight change, location a lot of times isn't relevant.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have to fool you with location. He can fool you with velocity. And there you see it. The changeup tonight, only 12% of the time, which is a low amount for Chris Sale. But he's used it more the last few innings, and he's pitching a whole lot better as this one pops straight up. This is going to be an easy inning. Tim Anderson calls for it, and he's got it. 11 straight retired by Chris Sale. We'll head to the top of the 7th. It's a 4-3 game. Sox lead. of the night, and Matt Strom in his place, on for the 4th time. 4.50 ERA, 5 strikeouts in 2 innings. You're going to love this guy's arm, especially for a 22nd round draft pick.
From West Fargo, North Dakota. Now he's got to be good. If somebody found him in West Fargo, North Dakota, that's pretty darn good. 6'3", 200-pounder. We'll see. Sox trying to add on here, having a nice offensive game tonight against Volquez, who I thought had pretty good stuff.
Volquez went 6, gave up 4 runs on 10 hits with a walk and 2 strikeouts. Strom attended Neosho Community College after West Fargo High School. He led junior colleges with 120 strikeouts as a sophomore, throwing 11 complete games, setting 9 school records. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Boy, nice easy delivery.
94-95, and it comes out of his hand very smoothly.
Yeah.
You can tell why they really like him.
He's sneaky fast.
Time now for our Xfinity high-speed action replay. And Melky with a run batted in, and a big one. Tim Anderson off with the pitch on the 3-2 count. He scores all the way from first on a single. And a head-first dive gets him behind Salvador Perez.
And again, another nice play by the middle infield of Kansas City. Actually, they're keeping them in this ball game. Those 2 guys up the middle with their defense. They almost nailed them at home.
They've got a terrific inner defense in this infield.
Yes.
Each and every one of them all the way around.
And center field's not too shabby either. Behind the plate, just excellent.
And Kane was one of the best center fielders in baseball last year. Lorenzo Cain, Jason Hayward, with a rating of 15 or more, both offensive runs above average and defensive runs saved. Only 2 in baseball. Long throw to first, and you're not going to outrun that arm very often.
You can check in during your visit to U.S. Cellular Field using MLB.com Ballpark, the official U.S. Cellular Field app for your iPhone and Android smartphone. Perfectly complements your trip with ballpark maps, concessions, guides, check-in prices, and more. Download MLB.com Ballpark today or visit WhiteSox.com/ballpark app. And that is, I might as well be talking Polish right now. I don't understand one word I said about the apps and the.
We'll have the second half of that coming up right after this pitch. Nice job, though.
Thanks.
Yeah. iPhone and
I'm going
Android
back to Vinny.
And smartphones and all those things. I have a hard time with that, too.
Thanks for giving it to me.
Adam Eaton, one of the 5 singles in a row that led to the lead in the 5th. Fouled off to the left. I'm not sure how you get a big, hard-throwing left-hander in the 22nd round.
That's amazing, isn't it?
That's exactly what they were able to do with Strom.
Not many scouts in North Fargo.
He got him. Adam thought he might have fouled it off, but Tim Timmons says no.
Tough breaking ball right here, biting. And a nice job by Sal Perez. Keep it in front of him. I don't think there was any contact.
No, he's just so smooth behind the plate. And then he tags him to complete the out. Bring up Jose Abreu with an RBI single in the 5th inning. That tied up the ball game before Justin Morneau's single put the Sox ahead, and swinging a miss at a high fastball at 96.
Yeah.
I told you you'd be pretty impressed with this guy.
That's gas.
And it's easy. You can tell he's still very young. He still is got a lot of life in the arm because there's a little late movement on the fastball.
Pretty good hammer right there too. Wow. Why don't you bring somebody else in, Ned? We've seen enough of this guy. Look at that. Boy.
Good hook and
Woo.
right in the spot
That's
you wanted.
filthy.
So 0-2 to Abreu. And he says he swung.
Tough AB.
So 2 strikeouts for Strom, and it's inning over. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. And for the 7th. Mobile, greater coverage of baseball. And it is Kansas City through June 30th. They were pretty good. Since, not too good. 11-22. You see the batting average way down. Runs per game, obviously down. Average with runners in scoring position way down. But bullpen ERA, the highlight, as you can see, as they got hurt in the pen, nobody overcomes that many injuries in Kansas City. One of those teams that just couldn't do it after the injury, so Melky calls for it himself. And Alex Gordon is a very easy one-pitch out. Starting with Morales in the 3rd inning. After a single, a double, and a single by Hosmer, Chris Sale has retired all of them. He's retired 12 straight since the 3rd inning.
Tell you what, he's got to keep hunkering down because what we've seen of that young left-hander Stram, it's going to be tough to score on this guy. Hold him right there, big guy.
Pitch number 99 on the way.
Ooh.
That one almost got a piece of Escobar. I'm not sure how he was able to get out of the way of it, but he did. Good fastball for a strike. We talked about stolen bases being down all over baseball. There's one guy that hasn't read about that.
Billy Hamilton.
Billy Hamilton. 21 stolen bases the last 21 games for Cincinnati. Good. Cincinnati is a team that hasn't done very well the last couple of years. They got some really good young pitching coming, and they're hoping to be able to build around that. It's going to take a while, but the young arms are good. And of course, Billy Hamilton, when he gets on, He's hard to contain.
Well, they've had such a great tradition there. You know, you go back to the 70s, that Big Red Machine. I mean, you can't get a better team than that.
No, that was having to face them was horrific.
Yeah.
They were just unbelievably good. So Pete Rose was at the top. Joe Morgan was there. Tony Perez, Johnny Bench. Geez, they were good. And the high fastball thrown by Escobar. So a guy who's hit Chris Sale very well has not touched him tonight, as Escobar 0 for 3, leaving it up to Mondesi.
There's that high fastball again. Catch it if you can. You can't. You got to let that one go. Got to make him get the ball down. But you know, you got guys like George Foster too. Well, you played with George in the minor leagues, didn't you?
Yes.
Good.
Fresno.
Reeve, how about that trade that Reds made? Frank Duffy for George Foster.
Well, you're forgetting Vern Geischer, who never reported.
I never knew Vern.
That was part of that deal.
He was a good guy, I heard.
In the meantime, Mondesi is 0 for 2, grounded into a double play and struck out. And I'm kind of surprised. Number one, with his speed, with a left-hander on the mound who falls off to the third base side. And in a one-run game late, why he hasn't even shown a bunt to the right side. He's got 3 butt hits. That came in 12 games and tied him for the team lead. To give you an idea that this is a different year, because Kansas City was a team that bunted a lot, took advantage of it, and this year they just have been completely different.
Yeah.
Ned Yost has chosen not to try to manufacture many runs, and injuries have worn them down.
I think that has probably been the key there. And you don't know how sore a guy is if he can run. You know, the hamstring pulls. Look at Kane. You know, he's not able to play center field right now. He's probably not going to try and steal, even though he has great speed.
No, Kane is not going to run.
Kane's not able to run.
And never, yeah. He used to be able, but not anymore.
A little bit.
3-2 count to a guy you just don't want to walk heading to Orlando. And he did. So it ends the streak.
The Xfinity Fundamentals area at US Cellular Field is accessible from the 100, 300, and 500 levels. Learn baseball from White Sox Training Academy coaches in batting and pitching cages, base running areas. You can check out the latest Xfinity technology, including X1 platform. X1 by Xfinity. It will change the way you experience TV.
Attendance tonight, 27,134. A very pleasant night.
It is.
Nate Jones loosening into pen. Chris is about ready to deliver pitch number 110. Paulo Orlando, who after a leadoff double has been a strikeout victim twice. Mondesi representing the tying run at first with a short lead.
That was a good pitch.
And that one could have gone either way, and it went Orlando's way. Short lead at first. That fastball just about in the same spot as the first one, fouled back. Rusty Kuntz, the first base coach, a good guy, been around a long time. He's one of the best. He's to the left of your picture. If that was Raul Mondesi, he'd be the oldest rookie in baseball, maybe history. But that's Rusty.
Yeah, Rusty, former Sox player, good center fielder.
Oh, 2-1 count. Cuthbert in the on-deck circle, and he's had some good at-bats against Chris Sale. I would think if he doesn't get Orlando, it's probably Nate Jones in Cuthbert's future. Mike Jerschel, the third base coach. And that high fastball fouled straight back. There's a look at Mike. Outfield straight away. Melky fairly deep in left field. Adam not quite as deep in right. And JB pretty much straight away center field. The 2-2 pitch with 2 outs. Mondesi at first. And the throw to first. Wind not all that much of a factor, but seeming to pick up a little bit. It's blowing toward the left field corner. There he goes. Throw to second base. It's up. He's in. Stolen base for Mondesi. That's his 3rd. He's 3 for 3. And he represents the tying run now in scoring position.
Yeah, he got a real good jump on this one. Quick acceleration. He checks to see if the ball was put into play. I love that straight leg first slide, the pop-up slide. Right there, much more preferred than the head first because guys are getting hurt. Disabled list full of guys after head first slides.
That one skied to right field. Easy play for Adam Eaton, and Chris Sale and the Sox out of the inning will head to the 8th. Sox lead by a run. Mortgage in Chicago, think E-Click Lending. With rates at all-time lows, don't wait. Lock in your low rate today with E-Click Lending. You never pay lending fees. Point, click, save. E-Click Lending. And Chris Sale most likely done for the night. And he got off to a rocky start. He got 3 hits and a run in the first inning. 3 hits and 2 runs in the 3rd. And then, as if he said, that's it, boys. You've had your fun. Now relax for a while. From 1 out in the 3rd inning through 7 innings, only 1 guy reached base, and that was the walk to Mondesi. What a job by Chris Sale on a very humid, very warm night in Kansas City.
Well, he minimized the damage in those first 3 innings, too, and that's what great pitchers do. They don't give up that big 5 or 6 spot.
It would have been pretty easy in the 3rd because with 1 out, Cuthbert single, a double by Kane, and a single by Hosmer, and he was still in some trouble. But Morales and Perez both out.
Get in there.
There's a little base hit.
Right.
Just like we promised you earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. And here's our Miller moment, and it comes off the bat of Justin Morneau. It was his 2nd hit of 3. This into left center field. That put the Sox on top, where they currently stay. 4th run of the ball game, a 1-run lead, and the 3rd hit of the night for Morneau, leading off the 8th.
Yeah, and if he tries to pull that ball, that's a weak ground ball to the second baseman. I thought all the hits the Sox got that inning, all 5 of them, very good execution going up the middle.
Todd Frazier.
Boy.
Some high heat out of the zone at 96. You have 2 choices. You either miss that, maybe if you're lucky, you foul it back.
Yes.
But you have to lay off that one. If you don't, you've got some problems.
Yeah, he's a classic example of a guy you got to make him get the ball down.
So question, if Morneau gets to second base, do you pinch run for him?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, we were in the 8th inning. I don't know. I really haven't seen Justin run much.
Really?
Is he?
Not that good. No, I mean, you know, he can do a lot of things, but at this point, running is probably not one of them.
Well, we'll see what he gets there. I'll make up my mind then.
Way to straddle that fence, pal.
There you go.
Wow. Throws a fastball by him at 97. And Frazier is out. Some high heat. He just keeps throwing harder.
You'd see me in my emergency stance for this guy. Slug bunt. And you can join us as the White Sox face the Oakland A's on Saturday, August 20th at 6:10. First 20,000 fans to enter U.S. Cellular Field will receive a pair of White Sox socks. That's right. For tickets, visit whitesox.com for White Sox socks.
Which, by the way,
they go with everything.
They're very handsome, and I noticed that you are without socks this evening. So we're going to make sure that we get you at least 1 pair of those, and you have to wear them to any festivities you have in Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah, those are good-looking socks.
And also, if you do one more favor, send me another one of those Ron Kittle bobblehead dolls.
We can send you Ron Kittle.
Yeah, well, no, I don't want Kitty. I just want, you know, they're very unique because when you take them out of the box, you put them on the mantle, they talk about themselves 24 hours a day. It's amazing.
I'm sure.
Hi, Kitty. I know you're watching this game.
I'm sure he'll be very happy when he sees you. He's a very big, strong man.
Yes, he is. Very strong. Maybe he won't see me.
Navarro turning around to hit from the right side. He's in a 1-2 hole. 1 out here in the top of the 8th. Morneau at first. Sox lead by a run. 4-11-0 for the Sox. The Royals 3-7-0. Slow breaking ball fouled off to the left. Sox have left 6. Royals have left 4.
See, this guy's got such good stuff. He can get away with that hanging breaking ball right there.
Well, you know, it's up, but it's not really hanging because there's some movement on it.
That's true. It's biting.
Right, and that's a difference. Been some really good pitchers who threw some breaking balls up. They didn't hang because they still moved real well. They just happened to be up in the zone.
That's a great point right there. I remember Bert Hooton when he first came up.
That was a knuckle curve.
Yes, he could hang that thing and you take your thumbs off.
And there's one that you just really have no chance on. That ball is down out of the strike zone and breaking so quickly that there's no contact. And Strom with 4 strikeouts out of his 5 outs. And a nice stop once again by Salvador Perez, who makes sure that Morneau cannot advance. I told you you'd like this young kid.
Oh, my goodness. And of course, he's got that confidence where he can bounce that curveball under any circumstances because he knows he's got the great Salvador Perez behind the plate to block it.
That's a really good point because you have to have supreme confidence in your catcher, especially with a man at third base. If your catcher comes and tells you, you can't throw it by me, I want your best curveball. If you throw it by me, it's going to be over my head. It won't be by me in the dirt. That gives you a lot of confidence to throw your best pitch. But if you're worried about your catcher blocking anything, then you're going to have a tendency to hang the pitch, and that's when guys get in trouble. With Perez, you don't have to worry about that.
Oh, he's just beautiful behind the plate. A big Yadier Molina for me.
Yeah, he's been something, and the only thing he's had some problems with concussions.
Oh, yes.
And he's still a relatively young catcher.
Well, he catches so many games.
Slow breaking ball, and that's one of the things we've seen from Strom is that he doesn't mind taking something off. He'll throw that at 76. His wipeout breaking ball is at 79. I would call it a curveball. He might call it a slider. but whatever it is, it breaks sharply and it's tough to handle.
Nasty.
The 1-2 count. Tyler Saladino, who doubled, scored a run in the third and gets him on a high fastball. 5 strikeouts for Strom. We'll head to the bottom of the 8th. Sox lead by 1. Perhaps you can represent Tim Tebow on his venture into Major League Baseball, because I'm sure at 29 years old, having not played since junior high school, he's going to get it done for sure.
You know what Tim Tebow ought to do? Become a tight end.
Nate Jones comes into the ball game on for the 52nd time. He's 5-2. His ERA 2.34. 54 strikeouts in 50 innings. He's only walked 11. Right-handers have done almost nothing with him. But a tough inning of Cuthbert, Kane, and Hosmer. If anybody gets on Morales, right through the heart of the order. So here's a case where the setup man probably going to have a harder job than the closer.
No doubt. No doubt. Well, you know, and Nate's got that weird delivery. He's really tough to pick up, almost like a catcher.
That ball hit hard, and a good play by Tyler Saladino.
Thank you.
And Cuthbert, bidding for his 3rd hit, is denied.
It's been a very well played game defensively. It looked like it kind of was going up the middle, hit off the side of the mound, and went to the left of Tyler. Boy, great concentration right there. If he doesn't concentrate and look at that ball in his glove, that's going to be a tough play.
That was a key. It hit off the mound and took an abrupt left turn because he was going up the middle and had to reach back. That'll bring up Lorenzo Cain, the right fielder tonight, as he looks at a slider for a strike. Cain doubled and scored a run in the 3rd inning.
Ooh, that was nasty. Nice slider.
Yeah, 89-mile-an-hour slider right on the outside corner. You're not going to catch up to that. That's why right-handers hitting 177 against him. However, career against Nate Jones, 5 for 6 for the home run.
Keep throwing that pitch, Nate. He's out there. In the 8th.
The Royal pen up and going.
I don't
Soria
care.
And Herrera. You want anybody but Strom.
Anyone. I'm very impressed. I think he ought to take the rest of the night off. Fun to watch.
For another slider, and Cain was able to foul it off.
Yeah, here's another guy that I would want to lock up if I'm Kansas City. I think he and Hosmer are the keys. Keeping the
well, there's no
Royals
doubt. I mean, when
contention.
his leg is fine, he's going to play center field. He's just about as good as anybody out there. Last year, big year, hit .307 for them. 16 and 72 on the power number. Stole 28 bases.
Yeah, that's big.
Able to stay alive there on a 98-mile-an-hour fastball on the outside corner.
Mercy.
David Robertson loosening up in the Sox pen. Got away with a hanging slider there. That was right up in his eyes. There's a look at David Robertson. Getting loosened up.
Bobby Thigpen. Looked great, Bobby Thigpen. Remember when he had those 56 saves? I didn't think that 57. I didn't think that record was going to get beat. Really didn't.
Just missing inside. David Robertson with 27 saves this year.
Nate's going to get beat. He's got to get beat on that 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Ooh.
Or that slider
Or the
going
slide.
away. Yeah.
On the black.
As
Painted.
You were saying, it was
Either
right
or.
there.
Either or. I was just exactly what I was going to say. Buck would say, analyze, Wimpy. There you go. Perfect pitch. No one's going to hit that one.
Not a chance. Lorenzo Cain goes down on strikes for the second time tonight. That leaves it up to Eric Hosmer. He's 2 for 3, driven in a couple of runs. And for the first time, he's going to face a right-hander. Fastball misses on the inside corner. So Cleveland, without Terry Francona, who was ill and not at the game, beats Washington 3-1. Detroit is in Seattle. They lead at the end of 2-0. Seattle's been red hot. That one popped up. Melky comes over. This ball slicing toward the line. Melky's got it. And that's it. 1-2-3 in the 8th. We'll head to the top of the 9th. Sox lead by 1 lone run. Come out and enjoy great baseball as CSN hosts a Miller Lite viewing party at Bedrocks and the Cave in southwest suburban Shorewood. Watch our Sox face Kansas City and enjoy ice cold Miller Lite. Great beer equals great responsibility.
Heck of an idea there.
Joakim Soria coming on for the 48th time. He's 4-5. Saves have been tough to come by for him. His ERA at 4.40. 46 strikeouts in 47 innings, and there was a time when he was one of the better closers around.
Yeah. His first tour of duty with the Royals, he was really good, and then when he went to Detroit, boy, he went backwards. Trying to get back to that old form.
J.B. Shuck 2 for 3. A good night. Played well in center field.
Home run.
And an easy play for Soria. Still 1 out.
On the road traveling and want to watch your Chicago White Sox? Subscribe to MLB.TV Premium for live or on-demand baseball on over 400 devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins. I got to go, Vinny.
I got to tell you, Vince Scully is much better
and more.
at that. Yeah.
Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Too many dots.
Tim Anderson 1 for 3 with a sacrifice. It was a beautiful bunt. That coming back in the 3rd inning, it led to a run. Melky drove it in with a ground ball. At the time, it tied the game at 1-1. Rolling breaking ball hit well to center field. Orlando with some room. Back by the track, and he makes the catch. That ball went a long way as Tim Anderson, very strong young man. He's hit 5 home runs, and I think he's going to hit a lot more as time moves along for him.
Yeah, he looks like he's got a chance. Put up some numbers.
You missed it earlier. Avisail Garcia placed on the disabled list, and Jason Coates recalled from AAA Charlotte. Been a revolving door from AAA Charlotte. Melky Cabrera driven in 2 of the 4 runs. Ground ball, his base hit in the 5th. Melky's had a good night.
Good fastball right there, 94 from Soria. I hadn't seen him throw that hard in a while.
Well, that's probably top of the line for him. Hit to left field and sliced into the seats. David Robertson continues to loosen up. He's going to go after save number 28. He would like to have an insurance run if Melky can keep it alive for Adam Eaton, who's in the on deck circle. No such luck. 1, 2, 3 in the 9th. We'll head to the bottom of the 9th inning. It's a 4-3 game. On comes David Robertson. Ninth inning, David Robertson comes on to try and close it down, looking for save number 28, and this is 32nd save opportunity. The ERA just below 4. Steve Stone along with Tom Paciorek. Ken Harrelson back in Chicago, a little under the weather. Promises to be back with us the last 3 games of this road trip in Cleveland. This place, Tommy, you've done a great job. You've done such a good job. We're going to invite you back tomorrow night.
Thank you. I'll be here. What time?
I think right around 7.
I'll be here at
probably get here a little earlier.
I'll be here at noon.
Yeah.
With the crew.
Hendrys Morales, who's 0 for 3, will turn around and hit from the left side. It'll be Morales, Perez, and Gordon to face David Robertson. The shift is on in the infield. Tyler Saladino way back on the grass at second. Tim Anderson well on the first base side of second. The only guy at home on the left side, Todd Frazier.
He tried to hit it to left field right there with that swing. It was a weak swing.
0 for 10 with 7 strikeouts against David Robertson.
Amazing.
This is one thing you don't want to see him get on, for the simple reason they've got quite a weapon sitting on their bench. And that fastball inside pushes him back off the plate. Another one misses inside. So they've got Gerard Dyson.
Yes, he can really run.
16 stolen bases, been caught 5 times. They've also got Billy Burns, who they acquired in a trade.
Yeah. From Oakland.
He's another burner. 14 stolen bases, been caught 3 times. That evens the count at 2-2. That was the one thing that made them so special in the playoffs the last couple of years, was they would get you in the late innings and then have Terrence Gore or Gerard Dyson come on and steal a base.
Right.
Next thing you know, they have a run.
Yeah, in a close ball game.
There's a base hit to left field. So Morales goes the other way, foils the shift, and the tying run is on. And
that was classic inside-out swing right there. Hands before the barrel of the bat, and there's Mr. Dyson. Watch this swing right here. It's out over the plate. He lets the ball get deep, but watch his hands come in there before the barrel of the bat. That's just a great job of hitting. Not a great pitch by David, though.
Well, that went down the middle.
Yeah.
And Dyson, 16 out of 21 in stolen bases.
Well, you got to think he's going to be running.
The longer you don't run with him, the longer the opportunity for Salvi Perez to ground into a double play.
Yeah, that's true. And, you know, they were gutsy last year. The Royals, as soon as they got on, they didn't waste much time, from what I remember.
Salvi's grounded into 8 double plays.
Ooh.
Fly ball right field. Adam Eaton's going to make this catch, and there's no way that Dyson can do anything at first. So 1 out.
High fastball. Didn't get his hands above the ball. Underneath it.
Alex Gordon, who's 1 for 3. So Perez 0 for 4 tonight.
See, I think Alex Gordon matches up pretty good against David Robertson. Just you know, looking at the two of them, the swing. Robertson not overpowering.
1 for 7 in his career.
Okay. Wants it in.
That one chopped foul. Outfield pretty much straight up. Melky very deep in left. That ball dug out of the dirt by Jose.
Yeah, you make a wild throw to first base, that could turn into a third base situation too with the speed of Dyson.
That's almost a guarantee with all the room you have here.
Yeah.
Good lead at first by Dyson. Quick throw. Down once again. Jose makes the catch. Tim Anderson playing up the middle. Todd Frazier well off the line at third base. Good lead at first by Dyson. There he goes. Throw to second. It's low. And Dyson is in with his 17th stolen base. It's a great jump and doesn't even bother looking back. That time straight steal as far as Dyson was concerned. Gordon was going to take it regardless of where it was, as Ned Yost stealing his way into the tying run in scoring position. Dyson looking around, checking all the outfielders, which is a good habit to get into.
Absolutely. Know the outs and where the outfielders are. All you Little League coaches, remember that.
Fastball in on his hands and fouled off to the right.
Yeah, he looks vulnerable in there. I always thought you could pitch Alex Gordon inside because he steps towards home plate. And to get to that inside pitch, he's got to get it way out in front of home plate. And if he hits it hard, chances are it's going to be a foul ball. But stay in there.
He got him. Alex Gordon goes down on strikes. So 2 outs. Good curveball by David Robertson.
Yeah, this was biting. Look at the depth of that pitch. Very nice.
Now Tyler Saladino coming on to talk with Robertson and what he wants to do with Escobar. Escobar has notoriously been a first ball hitter, and more times than not in key situations he goes to right and right center field. Tonight he's 0 for 3. 2 flyouts and a strikeout. Base hit left field. Here comes Melky. Here comes Dyson. The throw home. He can't get him, and on the throw Escobar goes into second base. And I know Melky was thinking about cutting down one of the league's fastest runners, but that throw's got to go to second base.
Yeah. The throw's not bad. A lot of guys might be out on that particular throw, but not Dyson. That guy's just low flying from second base. He got a good pitch to his, got his arms extended where he wanted to. Melky with a good jump, but now that guy can run.
And at the very least, make it so Todd Frazier can cut it off.
Yeah.
Because Dyson can fly. But now the winning run in scoring position. And Mondesi turns around from the left side as that one misses low and in. Raul Mondesi 0 for 2. Base on ball, stolen base in the 7th inning. Outfield very shallow all the way around.
You got to be, especially with the speed of Escobar at second base.
Fly ball right field. Adam Eaton back a few steps.
Whoa.
And he makes the catch. And so we've got a tie game. We're heading to extra innings. The game tied at 4.
Extra innings are presented by Jack Link's Beef Jerky all season long. Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side.
It's a 4-4 game as we head into the top of the 10th inning, and one of the pensmen left standing is Kelvin Herrera. He's on for the 51st time. He's 1-3. ERA 1.63, 63 strikeouts and 49 2/3. This is a hard throwing right-hander who's only 5'10", checking in about 210, 215 pounds. David Robertson with a blown save. Chris Sale will not win his 15th. And Adam Eaton is going to lead it off. Eaton, Abreu, and Morneau. Anybody gets on, Todd Frazier. Ground ball to short. Escobar pours it across and gets eaten by a step.
Great hustle down the line by Adam. Escobar taking his time, but he's got that strong throwing arm and nails him by a half a step.
I mean, he came an eyelash from waiting too long. So Jose Abreu, 1 for 4 tonight. That base hit drove in the tying run in the 5th inning.
Dial it up for that fastball. Hit one out of here.
This is the 12th time our Sox have headed to extra innings. We are 6-5. This is just the 5th time the Royals have headed to extra innings, and they're 4-0. (0-2) with the outfield very deep in a no double set. Base hit left field. Nice piece of hitting by Jose as he reached out. This pitch was way out of the strike zone, and he represents a go-ahead run.
On 0-2. Yeah, he was just wasting it. Looked like it, that breaking ball, trusting Sal Perez to make a play. Ball looked like it was in the left-handed batter's box. So here's Justin Morneau. He's got 3 hits tonight.
3 for 4 with a run driven in. He drove home the go-ahead run in the 5th. Slices that ball foul to the left. We're having a better year this year than last. Last year he was very good, very durable, 72 appearances. He did not have a save, however, as Wade Davis was saving everything in sight. That ball almost got away, but once again Perez a little too good. Herrera with just 1 wild pitch this year. When you throw as hard as he does and the stuff is that good, it's a testament to Salvador Perez.
Great call.
One misses outside. The count goes to 2-1. Perez playing in his 99th game. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Well, he catches more than anyone. Oh.
Sky to the left, slicing into the seats. Herrera has given up 3 home runs this year. The most amazing part about his record, 8 walks with those 63 strikeouts. Foul off to the left. And a base hit into the corner. Jose Abreu to third base. Kane gets the ball back in, and it's a double. The 4th hit of the night for Justin Morneau. Runners at 2nd and 3rd, only 1 out.
How the heck did he hit that pitch? That's just great hitting by the last 2 Sox hitters, Abreu and Morneau. I mean, no one's going to hit these pitches. Watch how he reaches out and gets this one. That's almost in the dirt. Fortunately for Justin, it's on the inner half of the plate, but he kept his hands back long enough, so he just flips it over the first baseman's head. A great job of hitting, good base running. 2nd and 3rd, just 1 out. Got to make contact here.
Well, you got to figure that they've already decided to play the infield in at all 4 positions. So now Morneau will leave. Carlos Sanchez has a pinch runner at 2nd base. A huge night for Justin Morneau.
Probably got his average over 300.
Came in at 262. I would think so.
Yeah.
With as few at bats as he has.
Yeah, he was 290 before that last hit. Great. All right. The infield's going to be in. Charlie Lau would say try and hit something in the air, middle of the field, between left center and right center. And short stroking.
Todd Frazier with 5 sacrifice flies this year. And he drives that ball to left field, and that ball is gone. Home run, Todd Frazier, his 31st. A rocket to left. Herrera's given up his 4th home run, and the Sox have a 3-run lead.
Well, he was the only one that didn't have a hit. Lordy, that got out of here in a heartbeat too. Let's take another look at it. Fastball about belt high. Watch that swing, man. Head behind it. Short and compact too. It's amazing how far you can hit a ball when you take the right swing. A short swing like that. Great job.
Well, 387 to the alley at that point, and it was gone in an instant. So a single, a double, and a home run here in the 10th. Todd Frazier has given the Sox the 3-run lead. Yonder Navarro comes up. And the count evens at 1-1.
Well, the Sox did great job of hitting that 5th inning. And how about this inning in the 10th? 3 more runs here. I mean, just outstanding hitting. Hitting some pitchers' pitches, too, to set up Todd Frazier to do that damage.
With 2 strikes. A defensive swing by Jose Abreu. He took one close to off the ground. Justin Morneau did take it off the ground, and then Todd Frazier got a fastball right down the middle, and he cranked it.
Well, he didn't wait.
31 and 72 on the power numbers for Todd Frazier.
Ooh.
Threw the fastball right by him. So 2 out here in the 10th. That'll leave it up to Tyler Saladino.
How'd you do it, Todd?
Well, I got a fastball down the middle and decided, you know, it's extra innings, it's hot, it's humid. I think I'll try to hit a fly ball out of the ballpark.
Oh, he did.
Really good plan.
Yeah.
You know, if you get 2 guys on, trying to hit a fly ball and it just keeps on going.
I like your thinking.
31 home runs for Todd Frazier. Chopper to short. Tough play for Escobar. The jump pass across and got him by plenty. But the damage is done. 3 runs here in the 10th. The Sox will go to the bottom of the 10th, leading by 3.
You know, Escobar is
game. Only 2 Sox pitchers have saves this year. One is Nate Jones with 3. The other David Robertson with 27. And Jacob Turner trying for his first. There you look at the numbers. On for the 6th time. He's got a 3-run lead.
Yep. Chances are they're going to be taking a strike, so you got to throw strike 1. You said it's the most important pitch.
It is that. Top of the order, Orlando, Cuthbert, and Kane. If anybody gets on, Hosmer.
You?
And a first ball fastball for a strike.
Oh, that first out is so big for a guy like Jacob Turner in this situation.
Ground ball to short. Anderson's got it, throws it across, and there is that big first out.
The third baseman of that team, Chesler Cuthbert.
Chesler Cuthbert, who's had a good night. He's 2 for 4, hit the ball very hard last time. Tyler Saladino making a good play leading off the 8th inning. That one had a piece of the outside corner. Could have gone either way, and it went Cuthbert's way. Line drive right center field. Nobody's going to get that one. That's going to go all the way to the wall. Cuthbert, his 3rd hit of the night. And some problems picking it up for J.B. Shuck. So Cuthbert in at 3rd looks to me like a double E8.
Yeah, even though that run fortunately doesn't mean a whole lot right now. You got to get the hitter. That is a double and E8. Boy, this guy's another guy that the more you watch him, Cuthbert.
They absolutely love him.
Boy, look at that swing, boy. I'll tell you what, that is just a lovely inside-out swing right there.
You know, he got his opportunity. There's a great example of a guy that got an opportunity that he didn't look to get, and he certainly made the most of it. Is that chopper up the middle? It's going to produce the 2nd out. Kane runs through the bag. It costs the Sox a run.
All right.
But they're 1 out away.
Good trade. You know, Cuthbert, as Hawk would say, keeps his back shoulder up throughout the swing, and that really makes him dangerous.
Well, they're going to find a place for him to play.
Oh, yeah.
You know, this guy he's that kind of talent, and he's a magician with the glove at 3rd. So here comes Robin. And that's going to be it for Jacob Turner, who gets 2 outs, gives up a run. And here comes Dan Jennings. So as he comes trotting in, we'll go stepping out, and we'll be back after these messages. It's our Midas call to the pen, and it is Dan Jennings. 1.96 ERA, on for the 42nd time. He's allowed just one home run. It's been a very good year for Dan. He's looking for his first save. Hosmer has done nothing with him over the course of his career. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 10th. Sox lead by 2 runs, a 7-5 game. Dyson in the on-deck circle. He came on to pinch run for Morales, scored the tying run last inning. Outfield straight away, infield playing him up the middle. And he looks at a high fastball for ball 1. Good slider, evens the count at 1-1. Seven, 14-1 for our Sox. 5-10-0 for the Royals. Royals down to their last out. Fouled off to the left on a high fastball. Looks a whole lot faster when it's upstairs and when it comes right after an off-speed slider.
But Hosmer is such a good hitter. He's going to make his adjustments, and he's going to be thinking middle of the field right here or opposite.
2 for 4 with a couple driven in. Those 2 RBIs while Chris Sale in the 3rd inning.
One thing about Hosmer, he doesn't give away any at-bats. He's a grinder.
Former #1 draft pick. And he fouls it off to stay alive on a good low inside fastball.
Well, in this situation with 2 strikes, you got to be looking fastball away because they'll beat you inside. You can't look changeup. I don't understand why so many guys are getting called out on fastballs down the middle of the plate because they're obviously looking for something off speed.
Well, Hosmer with long arms has great plate coverage. He's 6'4", 2 1/4, and he hits the ball very well out away. Not the slider out away, but the fastball out away. He got him. Strike 3, game over. Sox win 7-5. And the first save of the year for Dan Jennings. So, Tommy, congratulations.
Thank you.
You're 1-0 this year.
All right. A great pitch right here. Another slider by Dan. Boy, facing the best hitter that the Royals have, and he went right after him. There's a great pitch. Slider downstairs. Hosmer just looking to make contact, but he pulled off that one slightly.